President William Ruto said the government will take firm measures to restore security in Kerio Valley, even as he urged the residents to embrace peace. He said the government is committed to ending cattle rustling to give residents a chance to engage in gainful economic activities. The president asked leaders from the region to shun divisive politics and work together.
Kazi hiyo ya kukoroga amani, kupiganisha wananchi, bunduki left, right and center, hiyo kazi tutaikomesha. Wawache hiyo kazi kwa hiari, na kama hawatawacha kwa hiari, watawacha kwa lazima. There are not two ways about it.
He said the government will partner with the private sector to actualize the 100 dams plan. The president noted that the move will not only ensure the country achieves its food security, but also creates wealth for the people. Now to Jibebe, where Kenya Party leader William Kabogo has raised concern over the rampant robbery incidences witnessed within Nairobi and its outskirts. This comes amidst public uproar in the past few months owing to rising cases of broad daylight stabbing, shootings and murder across the country, blaming the National Police Service for inaction. The former Kiambu governor called on Kenyans to unite against crime and bring the perpetrators to book.
Fellow Kenyans, we must now unite more than ever against crime. We cannot be spectators of criminal gangs terrorizing Kenyans as we watch. We must take up our space and say enough is enough. If we don't stop this now, there's going to be a big problem for our country. Today it's someone else, tomorrow it's going to be you. What are you going to do? It's your chance now to take charge as Kenyans.
And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says that withdrawing his 7.4 billion shillings graft case is not enough, and that all cases that were falsely instigated should likewise be scrapped. Speaking in Baringa County, Gachagua said that it was a noble move to clear his name off the courts, however, noting that no one should be criminalized by virtue of personal interest from certain individuals. The second-in-command further noted that he has pardoned all those who incited the police to make the accusations and arrest him.
Juzi, Your Excellency, askari wameanza kujitokeza, wanaenda wanaandika affidavit, wanasema walilazimishwa kutuwekea makesi ya uongo. Simulisikia? Alifika pande kotini akasema mimi niliagizwa na DCI nisugume huyu Rigathi Gachagua hana makosa, lakini lazima nihakikishe ameshikwa Friday, alale siku 3 mpaka wachana na William Ruto. Akaambia huyu mtu tuliambiwa tumwekelee makesi karibu 10, tukatafuta tukamwekelea makesi 6, tumeondoa. Na hiyo ni mzuri na tunatoa shukrani, lakini kuondolea Rigathi Gachagua kesi haijatosha. Wale watu yote mliwekelea makesi, muende mtoe hiyo makesi, kwa sababu ni makosa kubwa sana kutafutia watu makosa kwa sababu ya msimamo wao wa kisiasa.
He further noted that President William Ruto's government will not follow suit and will strictly abide by the rule of law. Now, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has banned hawkers and street families from occupying and conducting business on footbridges within the city. Sakaja said that the 4 said individuals have already been expelled from the footbridges, and the Nairobi Fire Department has already pressure washed the premises for the safety of pedestrians. The move, according to Sakaja, will restore security within the county, further noting that the displaced individuals will be allocated appropriate places to work from. Now, troops in the DR Congo clashed with the M23 rebels north of the key eastern city of Goma in the latest violence to hit the troubled region. Army sources said the military was engaging the M23 in Mwaro, a village about 20 kilometers north of Goma. A mostly Congolese Tutsi group, the M23 has recently surged across the Democratic Republic of Congo's North Kivu province, capturing swathes of territory. In a statement, the group accused the Congolese army of conducting barbarian bombings in heavily populated areas, killing 15 civilians, including 2 children. The clashes come one day after Kenyan troops deployed to eastern DRC as part of a military operation from the 7-nation East African Community to stabilize the volatile region. Over 120 armed groups are active across the eastern Congo, mainly a legacy of regional wars which fled at the turn of the century. The M23 briefly captured Goma in 2012 before being driven out. And US President Joe Biden will make clear his bilateral meetings with President of China Xi Jinping in Indonesia that his country seeks no conflict. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. Since I'm not shipping up. You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the sheep in the bathtub? Or
the sheep man.
One of Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a sheep. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about the sheep or sheep goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. What does it look like? Probably not going to see so much in terms of traffic, not right now, at least. Streets are wet from that morning rain, and we're looking at traffic that has built up on Jogo Road and it's heading out towards the city. Not yet at bumper-to-bumper status. Hopefully we'll not get that way too soon. We're also seeing a build-up of traffic on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. That also is just starting to do its Monday morning wake up. Most parts of the city can get through without too much of an issue at this point. Coming out of Westlands looks pretty good, as well as it does on Gong Road. Mombasa Road is not going to give you any trouble, at least not for now. We'll see what it does in a short while. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your...
Did you do the thing? I don't know why Ednah is behaving like this morning. Just jumping up and down. What's wrong? Good morning. How are you doing? Welcome to the what? The what? What's today's date? I think I'm in a time warp. It's on the 14th. It's the 14th. N'est-ce pas? It's the 14th of November. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Yet another Monday, a wet one, a rainy one. But hey, here we are. Thank God for the rains. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, baby. How are you doing, baby?
Very well.
Very good, baby.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's the 14th.
That's why I was confused.
Hakuna subsidy.
Sheesh.
Ngoja usikie.
Tonight, we will know. Somebody's just brought me my coffee. I even forgot
why did you leave your coffee?
Just walking outside like a goat. Forgetting the things that are important. But it has been sorted.
Very good.
Thank you.
You well? Had a good weekend?
It was all right.
Did you go running or jogging or doing things?
Nothing. I did not. I was feeling very nestish, so I did a lot of spring cleaning this weekend, actually.
Right.
I was feeling that, I needed to clean up things, so I was cleaning it up.
So you're cleaning things?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
How are you?
City.
How was your weekend?
Yes, Eric.
How are you?
I'm fine.
See, wait. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Huh?
I wasn't feeling like cleaning things, so I did not clean things.
Did you go on a walkabout?
Did I go? No, I didn't go on a walkabout. I just went to watch that movie. Remember that one?
The one that the world is watching.
The one that the whole world is watching. I went to watch it.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay. Super.
How was the movie?
It's forever. Wakanda forever.
The movie is forever.
It's the same old movie. It's a new one.
It's a new one.
It's a new one.
Uh-huh.
You need to do like that?
No, that first one was very good. Very, 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 very good.
Yeah.
And this one was also very, very, very good.
It's very good.
See?
It's Wakandaing forever.
Has it found its way into social media platforms? Just asking.
Which ones are those?
Erasmus.
Netflix.
Netflix is a social media platform.
It isn't.
Kitu yote kwa computer.
Bora iko
Social media.
Me, I was thinking.
Platform.
I was thinking, if it has reached there, I can use my tablet
to watch it.
To watch it.
Yeah, this Ultra S8.
Ingekusaidia.
I can use it to watch.
The Samsung S8, Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra.
Precisely.
That one.
If kama ingekuwa kwa platform, you would have used the Ultra to watch it.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. But since it isn't there, I'll probably watch something else.
On the Ultra.
So it's called Wakanda Reloaded.
It's called Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
Even the first one was called Wakanda.
That's called Black Panther.
The other one was called Black Panther. Even this one is still Black Panther.
Do you know how old that Black Panther saga is? I was reading Marvel comics as a child. I read them into adolescence. I read them into adulthood. And I encountered Black Panther then.
There's also Black Panther movement in Black United States.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was.
The meeting of young African Americans, predominantly male, to push their cause. The silent meetings of the same. It was interesting.
Angela Davis.
Very interesting.
Eldridge Jones.
Excuse me.
Yes. Sawa.
Kabisa, sindio?
Maridadi.
Yeah. Welcome to the conversation, everybody. Let me tell you what we will be discussing today. What shall we be discussing today? 7 a.m., we have two new members of parliament, one from the Senate, one from the National Assembly. The Honorable Peter Salasia is the MP elected by the people of Mumias East to represent them in the National Assembly. And Esther Okenyuri is newly nominated senator to replace Soipan Tuya, who is now a minister. So the two of them will be here with us at 7 a.m. to talk about what to expect from the new faces that we see in Parliament. At 8 a.m., let's talk about the East African Legislative Assembly. So we know that this week, members of the National Assembly will be voting for who will be representing Kenya in the East African Legislative Assembly. Political parties have nominated their people. Asmio has 4 slots. 2 taken by ODM, 1 by Jubilee, 1 by Wiper. ODM has several nominees, among them,
for
EALA.
Among them?
Yeah.
Winnie Odinga,
Suleiman Shabal, and others. Jubilee has several people, including Jeremiah Kioni, Kanini Kega, and others. Wiper has several people, including Stephen Kalonzo, and others. Kalonzo
UDA has also.
In the other side of Kenya Kwanza, UDA has several people.
Yes.
And Amani National Congress has also several people.
Many people.
Ford Kenya has several people.
There are 9. Just, all this arithmetic is just so that 9. We give it a background.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Can you imagine? So Suleiman Shabal will be joining us at 8 o'clock to talk about, why Kenya needs strong representation in EALA. And of course, he'll tell us why he thinks it's strong representation.
Of course, he'll tell us why, in fact, he's the perfect candidate for that particular position.
Yes. So he'll be here at 8 o'clock for that conversation. At 9, let's talk Nairobi City County governance and politics. So Governor Sakaja was speaking yesterday to the people of Nairobi and saying, okay, this issue of insecurity, we need to deal with it. The issue of cleaning the city, we are dealing with it. But there are people who are just up there saying, look, there is so much garbage strewn all over this city that the county government is basically just playing catch up and it's too slow on that. One of them is a lady called Hanifa Safia. Hanifa is very, very active on social media, and she's been posting photos from various parts of the city. Heaps and mounds of garbage. She says, no, we need a cleaner Nairobi. She will be joining us at 9 a.m. to have that conversation. Yes, let's talk about COVID.
Let's look at what's happening with COVID. If the machine can just be my friend today. See, we agreed. Okay, so 60 new cases from a sample size of 397. Unfortunately, for the first time in very, very, very many months, there has been two recorded deaths. We're not saying that these happened in the last 2 days. And we don't know if this is much later in the process that the information has reached the center. But we're looking at 2, and it's been for a long time that we haven't seen any deaths from COVID. All right. Of the 60 cases, 56 of them are in Nairobi, 2 are in Kiambu, 1 in Taita Taveta, and 1 in Uasin Gishu. So that's what we're looking at. If we look at global numbers, we're looking at 640 million, and we're still seeing that there's a slight rise. So between a week ago today, when we're looking at 638 million, today we're looking at 640 million. There's a cruise ship that has docked in Sydney, and it has carried with it 800 COVID positive passengers. And you might ask how or why. Hundreds of COVID-positive passengers docked in Sydney after being hit by a wave of infections. The Majestic Princess cruise ship was about halfway through a 12-day voyage when an outbreak of cases was noticed. Carnival Australia President Marguerite Fitzgerald told reporters this on Saturday. The ship had 4,600 passengers and a crew on board at the time. A mass testing of 3,300 passengers. After that testing, around 800 tested positive for COVID-19. As did a small number of the crew. All positive cases are mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic, and those guests isolated in their rooms and then separated from non-impacted guests. So it's interesting that you're still seeing, this is a large number. On one ship, 800 people is a large number. Have they been allowed to dock? They docked, but they're still quarantined while they receive treatment and then test negative again. So it's ebbing and flowing, these COVID infections through the world. We're not seeing zero just yet. All right. One other thing happening with COVID, China is still tightening its restrictions as there is still a rise in COVID-19 cases. They're not playing with this as we have so far established, but it doesn't stop the cases still from rising. So the rest of the world, again, still murmuring, but China's saying we're not doing it. 1.8 million people in China's southern metropolis of Guangzhou have been ordered to stay home for virus testing. And a major city in the southwest closed schools as another rise in infections was reported. 11,773 were reported over the previous 24 hours. 10,000 of them had no symptoms. But China is saying we're not joking with this anymore. If this is a rise, we're going to deal with it and cut it off at the head.
Why? Okay. It's 19 after 6, so let's take this quick break. Take a look at the weather forecast. Are you online this Monday morning? Let us know where you're tuned in from. We will acknowledge your presence shortly.
The adults in the room.
He's promiscuous or he's polygamous. We need to get over ourselves.
So I should always know the man that marries me, I know there'll be other women.
Yes.
The relationship you have with yourself is the foundation of the relationships you will have with other people.
Things that we never talk about. 3 things. Stop, breathe, and relax.
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not.
Tune in to Adults in the Room
every Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The Adults in the Room will help you stay winning. Only on 94.4 SpiceFM, Nairobi.
All right, so still looking at drizzly conditions in Nairobi this morning at 16, highs of 24. We'll see highs of 24 as well, and a partly cloudy Nakuru at 16. And it's 16 and mostly cloudy in Nyeri, highs of 24 today. 23 will be the high in a partly cloudy Eldoret at 13. 25 and mostly cloudy in Mombasa, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 30 in a mostly cloudy Malindi. It's 19 and mostly cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 26, cloudy conditions as well. In Kakamega, currently at 16, we'll go to highs of 26. Kampala will see a high of 25. It's currently 19 and clear conditions. It's cloudy at 25 in Dar es Salaam, highs of 31. Looking into Johannesburg, 13 degrees and cloudy, highs of 22, and we'll see highs of 32 in a partly cloudy Lagos. It's 23 and light rain in Kinshasa, highs of 31 and lows of 23. Looking out into Beijing Monday afternoon, it's sunny at 7, highs of 13 and lows of -1. Temperatures dropping as well in Paris, 7 degrees will be the low, highs of 16. It's raining in London this morning at 10, highs of 15 and lows of 9. Freeze watch over New York. It's Sunday night. It's 7 degrees. Coming into Monday, we'll see highs of 12 and lows of 3.
Chilled Spice. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
Indeed. Quite a number of people online this morning. If they were Francis, good morning to you. Karibu Sana, tuned in from Mombasa. Have a great week ahead. You do the same. Kolwen Nyakach Sub-County is where Cleophas Anam is tuned in from. Zachary Odio, tuned in from Kakamega. He says the level of insecurity in Kakamega is worrying. It seems to be a conversation for a lot of people. I wonder what is happening in Kakamega. Level of insecurity. What's going on? Happy New Week. Mombasa is tuned in. That's where Robert Mbogo is. Sabi says, good morning, gentlemen. CT Muga, Eric Latif, and a beautiful lady. Tune in from Buruburu as usual. Much love to you guys. Indeed. Kate Gishoke is tuned in and says, good morning. Karibu, Kate. Langat Kipkirui says good morning. And Tobias Nyongesa says good morning as well. Jufuth is tuned in from Westlands, listening from Machakos is where Ashley is. Good morning. Tuned out of Jordan College, main campus, Thika. We see you, man. Zachary Gikonyo, hello. Welcome to a new week and new possibilities. Our love for the program is unchallenged.
Who is that?
That's
Is that Zachary?
Zachary.
All right.
Gikonyo. Good day to you as well. James Mully, we see you. Good morning. Ondicho is tuned in and locked. Dennis is listening, as is Livingston. And Fred Wanjoni is tuned in as well. Tuned in from Kimilili is where Amos is. And Daniel Jamhuri tuned in as well. Good morning. Good morning, Charles. Luanga is tuned in. Now, Roche John says, tuned in at Homa Bay Town. Eric Latif and CT Muga specifically. I have 2 tree seedlings I shall plant today in honor of your good work at my home. Of the first 2 people tuned in at Homa Bay towards a tree per household initiative targeting 2 million households in Kenya by June 2023.
All righty. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, John.
Thank you very much, John.
Good morning. Felix Waivera is tuned in, and a lot more people online this morning. Karibuni sana, and thank you for joining us.
Asante sana kila mtu karibu. CT Muga with his Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra is going to show off by reading the proverb.
You know how it is, my man? When you have such clarity, when the surface of your gadget is this clear, because of modern technology, you have absolutely no choice but to read from it.
Okay.
When mosquitoes work, oh, by the way, we are in the country of Mali. Mali. All right. When mosquitoes, we'll be telling you more about the country as we go along.
Okay.
All right. When mosquitoes work, they bite, then sing.
Well, mosquitoes work.
They bite,
then sing. Okay. Bite, then sing. and rats do the same.
They bite and
then
blow.
They bite and blow.
All right, that's a good one from Mali. Let's take a look at the newspaper headlines. What's on the front pages?
On the front page of the Standard, how Ruto budget cuts will affect you is what we're hearing this morning. As well as the vetting of PSs begins as government takes shape. Finally, government is taking shape. As PSs are vetted, then this one will be able to hear. CT says from then is when you can start counting the 100 days, n'est-ce pas?
That's him.
That's CT. That's why I said CT said.
Yeah.
But now we see that these processes are happening, so maybe CT will be a little bit more satisfied after
From
that has
next
happened.
week,
From
maybe.
next week, you now start saying, me, I'm going to give them. You give them 100 days.
His guy will start counting from December 1st when the Hustler Fund is launched.
When the PSs are in office, then I will begin to count the 100
so you'll be
days.
happy to know that vetting begins as then that government takes shape. So that's what the front page of the Standard. We'll look at how you will be affected by Ruto's budget cuts. A man on a mission is what the Nation is saying. Ruto's 126 meetings in 60 days. Well, something's happened in 60 days, that's for sure. President Ruto has held 126 publicized meetings in his 60 days in office, hosting as many as 4 a day amid pressure to deliver on the many promises he made on the campaign trail. A Nation Newsplex analysis shows that since his swearing in on the 13th of September, he has not been engaged on only 5 of those days. So we'll look at that. Excuse me.
What was he doing in those 5 days? He should account for them.
He should account for the 5 days where he was not having multiple meetings.
Yeah.
I guess we'll hear.
Who gave him leave?
Okay. Come through. 8.9 billion is a nice number, isn't it, this morning? Can I tell you what? 8.9 billion.
Small number.
Small money. Chicken change.
We're waiting for 50. What's happening with 8.9 billion?
Teachers are asking for that in medical cover.
Okay.
They want the National Treasury to release an additional 8.9 billion shillings towards their medical cover, saying that it has been left exposed after the expiry of the previous scheme. Shall we look at that now, or shall we continue?
Okay. Yeah, tell us.
Okay, let me tell you. Kenya Union of Post-Primary Teachers, Education Teachers, KUPPET, and the National Health Insurance Fund require 23.9 billion shillings to provide a comprehensive medical cover to teachers. However, the government has allocated only 15 billion towards the scheme, which falls short of the quotation by NHIF, and are adamant that there are no more funds. KUPPET Secretary General Akelo Misori said the medical scheme for teachers by Minet expired on the 31st of October, and NHIF has been engaging with the TSC, but it is not willing to provide the medical scheme at 15 billion shillings. Misori said the 15 billion allocated is pegged on teachers contributing 9 billion, while the government will chip in 6 billion that was approved by Parliament. We are urgently calling upon Parliament and the Treasury to urgently provide funds for the teachers' medical scheme currently under review. The bottleneck is the 8.9 billion shillings that the government is not willing to release. The previous medical cover expired last month, and teachers are now living in total anxiety as they are not sure when they will get their next cover. He said teachers are okay with the comprehensive cover by NHIF, but that the ongoing impasse seems that they have been left exposed. Now, government is saying, look, there's no more money. We have done what we can do. We understand that this is the quote that NHIF has given. We're going to give 6 billion, but you're asking for a further 8.9 billion in order for us to have it. We just don't have the money.
Wait, no. The 6 billion shillings is coming from teachers themselves. They're contributing 6 billion.
No, they've contributed more than that. Right?
How much are they contributing?
So, let me go to it again. The government has, you're right. The government has allocated 15 billion towards the scheme. Teachers have, through their own pockets, have given out 9 billion.
9.
So, the government is being asked to chip in another 8.9 billion, right?
Mm-hmm. And this was already approved in the budget. Akelo Misori was a member of Parliament.
15 billion is pegged to teachers contributing 9 billion, while the government will chip in 6 billion. Okay, so we're looking at 15 billion as a block. The bill was 23 billion. Okay? So 15 billion was now hived separately. Government was supposed to do 6 billion. Teachers to do 9 billion. Okay? That is what was approved by Parliament. So the question is, this 8.9 billion that's hanging in the balance to make up the 23 billion, teachers are saying, where is it supposed to come from? Government is saying, we don't have any more. But teachers are saying, if you don't give us this money, we're not going to be able to have medical cover. You get it?
Okay. So the 20 billion, the Aeon cover that's coming, that's expiring, was that 15 or 20?
23 billion.
It was at 23 billion.
Okay,
who was paying that 23 billion?
Before.
Yeah.
Right? So, now, I don't know. It's new. So this is an additional amount.
Okay, it's confusing. So their cover is coming to, is expiring.
Mm-hmm.
And
Has expired.
Has expired.
Yeah.
They want to renew the cover and they want to have something fresh. Now it's about...
It was covered before. At 27 billion shillings, medical cover tender to the Minute Insurance Kenya for a period of 3 years, which elapsed on the 31st of October, had been awarded by the TSC in 2019. So they had paid it before. It had been paid before. Okay? Now, Missouri has challenged the TSC to open up the tender for the new medical scheme so that they get the best bidder. And now that came to 23 billion. But government is saying that extra 8 billion right now, sure, it may have happened 2019 until 2022. But now moving forward, we do not have that money. Okay? So previously it was done, which is why it's causing this frustration now from Kupet. So without it, obviously, you're not going to get a cover, right? The cover has expired. They're 14 days into a time without cover. And they're saying anything can happen at any time.
Okay. And they don't want to go to NHIF's enhanced cover, like the one the police have.
Yeah, they want a private.
They want a private. Okay. It's 28 minutes to 7. Let's take a quick break. Take a look at the traffic, right? And Ndu will be showcasing her brand new... Do you have the watch? Yeah, I have it here. The Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro.
Ooh, you should see how it looks on me.
So that tells you how City slept.
Tells me how City slept. I can keep an eye on you.
Not where City slept.
Not where.
Oh, no. I don't know if it's giving us those details exactly. But it can do quite something. I don't know if it can go into the realms of, Jesus.
This.
I know the sun is out in Nairobi at least. As you tembea, be careful. Manchester United are trying to sign anyone. Watch out where your children are. Please hide yourselves.
Sugar and spice!
I reached a point where suicide things were just going south completely. Something stopped me.
Good morning. We do know that when the rain comes down, traffic goes up. Everybody's probably going to stick to their lanes literally for some time. We're seeing some traffic building up on Mombasa roads, getting out toward the city, but nothing too painful. Jogger Road is busy as usual. As you come just past the Makadara train station, out. You should be all right as you get towards Landis, but we're going to see some slowing down right there at that bus station. Out towards Kamkunji, into the CBDs where it's looking really busy. It's also built up quite some on the Thika Superhighway, so as you're getting into the CBD, it's going to slow you down just a tad. The service lanes are looking beautiful. You want to use that this morning. Kiambu Road is starting to pack up as well, but it looks pretty good coming out of Muthaiga, Gigiri, that whole area, Kitisuru, blah, blah. Traffic has not started to do the magic there just yet, but it's likely to happen later. And with the early morning rains, we're probably going to see a pack up of traffic a few minutes after 7 o'clock. So you want to watch out for that. What does it look like in your neck of the woods this rainy Monday morning? Let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
.5 Spice FM Kisumu. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Let me tell you, my friend, the
94.4.
19th of November is this Saturday, okay? And this Saturday, Jimmy Graft will be taking people down to Naserian Ridge Phase 3, which is a gated community 20 minutes from Ngong Town along the newly tarmacked Ngong Suswa Road, 500 meters from tarmac. This is a beautiful project where they're selling pieces of land for this gated community, you build your own lovely home, fully beacon fenced, individual freehold titles, close proximity to all the amenities that you can think of. An eighth of an acre, that's 50 by 100, is going for 650,000 shillings. Here's the best news. Because seeing is believing, you'll be chaperoned by Jimmy Gathu on the 19th of November from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it will only cost you 2,000 shillings. You know, pesa macho, zamacho. Only 2,000 bob. To book your slot on the bus, please pay the 2,000 shillings via paybill number 4068347. That's paybill number 4068347. The account, weka kitambulisho yako. Inquiries, you can go to www.olivelimited.com. Secure your tomorrow, my friends. So, this big headline in the papers today is on vetting of PSS begins as government takes shape. So City Muga will now start counting day 01 for President William Ruto from that day.
Yes.
The man has been in office for 7 weeks tomorrow, but it doesn't matter to you, right? Vetting of the 51 PSs nominated by the president begins today, despite 2 petitions filed in court challenging the process. Questions have been raised about the eligibility of some PS nominees, while the president has been accused of failing to observe gender balance and leaving out people living with disability in the final list. Actually, from CS to PS, how many people living with disability have been nominated? Have been 0.
Nothing.
The nominees, which include technocrats, election losers, and PSs who served in former President Uhuru Kenyatta's government, will appear for vetting before respective National Assembly departmental committees in a week-long exercise. There's a man called Dr. Magare Gikenyi, who's a surgeon. He's filed a petition before the Employment and Labour Relations Court seeking to stop Parliament from vetting these 51 PS nominees, arguing that the list does not meet the 2/3 gender rule. He said the nominees consist of 2 or 3 ethnic communities and female nominees are less than a third, and the list does not reflect ethnic, cultural, and regional diversity. This goes contrary to Articles 10, 73, 75, and 232 of the Constitution of Kenya.
What? So what are we saying? It's a contravention of the law?
Oh, yes. He says if the 51 PS nominees by the president are cleared by Parliament, their appointment will be an affront to the Constitution and injure majority of Kenyans. He's also challenging the nomination of Bernice Silal, who is a principal administrative secretary for the National Police Service. He says, first of all, what position is that? Her position doesn't even exist anywhere.
And she's being nominated for it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
The principal administrative...
What? We are bringing it.
Yes. So when you bring it to the person.
If you create a new position, you have to announce that you're creating a new position.
See, that's... Oh, okay. Because we didn't say now, okay, I get it.
Yeah, you can't just come and say, okay, now there's the deputy assistant president. Hey.
And this is the person who will do the job.
Yes.
By way of this appointment, we are announcing the position.
So the case is in court. There's another one. Frederick Bikeri, through an urgent petition filed at the High Court, sought to stop the National Assembly from vetting and approving the nominees on grounds that the list falls short of the gender rule and regional balance. According to his advocate, Dunstan Omari, the president breached the constitution by nominating his cronies while excluding other regions who also deserve to be part of government. Anyway, vetting begins today, 9 a.m. Julius Korir, who's the nominee for State Department for Cabinet Affairs, goes before the departmental committee. 9 also, Dr. Chris Kiptor, who's a nominee for the National Treasury. Also, 9 to 10, Philip Kello Harsame, who is the PS nominee for the State Department for Crop Development. These people have really some proper experience in this. Julius Korir is a returning PS. He was a PS for devolution. Dr. Chris Kiptor was a PS for environment. Before that, he had served as PS for trade. Philip Kello Harsame, he's a man who contested for the Marsabit gubernatorial race on a UDA ticket but lost. But just before leaving government, he was the Director General of the Agriculture and Food Authority. He's been nominated to be PS for crop development. In line with what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
11:30 to 1:30. Raymond Domolo, who is the nominee for State Department for Interior and National Administration. Also, James Muhati, State Department for Economic Planning. Also, Harry Kimtai, State Department for Livestock Development, and so on and so on and so forth.
Do you see any of these ladies and gentlemen being rejected by whatever committee?
By who? Who would dare?
So this is the thing you were saying the other day about why are you wasting our time?
Yeah.
CT, I think you mentioned the same. Why are you... It just needs to be seen... you said it was important. It needs to be seen as a transparent and authentic process.
It is important.
That you actually put these people under the fire and hoping that they came out as gold. That is
my beef.
The optics. But if you knew that these people were going to be confirmed, vetted, passed through, why are you...
Why are you subjecting us through all these things?
We are not
giving members of parliament a lot of money.
We are
for
not
sitting.
being subjected.
Money, time.
Yes. Eric, you said your beef and here about
my main beef with the PS positions is that I think this should be the highest level of public service, so it should be a promotion, not an appointment from outside. People in public service should be promoted to the level of that rank of principal secretary.
This is the thing for me, because it's public service. And the thought that is, if you are in public service, that you have risen through the ranks, or that it should be a process that is adopted, that you start as a junior officer, you rise through, so you know, even if you were brought in from a different sector. Also, the thought is that you have served,
at least serve some couple of years in public service, go to Kenya School of Government, go through some training, get certified, and people who have certain certification from Kenya School of Government and have X number of years working in public service, then qualify for rank of principal secretary.
I agree. You're essentially running the ministry.
Yes.
You're running a ministry. That's
you're
what
running
you're doing
something
as a PS.
bigger than Safaricom in some instances.
Yeah. You're running a ministry, for crying out loud.
It is somebody, it's
overseeing the running of the ministry.
Oh, come on, CT. The PS?
The PS is the CEO
I am aware
of a state department.
I am aware. I am fully aware. I am fully aware. You should have asked why I have said what I've said. Please ask.
Why have you said what you have said?
Well, now that you've asked, the reason why I have said what I have said is this. There's a certain kind of civil servant who one never hears of and never really goes anywhere. And they're very rarely moved. And if they're moved, you never get to know about it. That rank below the principal secretary. Now, in a time gone by, when civil servants were called permanent secretaries, they were permanent. Essentially, you knew these fellows were there. If they moved, again, it was in the same capacity to a different ministry. And they were there. Now, the moment we politicized the appointment of PSs, then that game changed. So you would find people being appointed. And yes, they have a background, they've done this and the other, but what Eric is saying, which in my opinion is the ideal situation, ceased to be the norm a long time ago. That's really what I'm saying. Now, so the people who actually run, as the PS is trying to figure out what happens where. Remember the cadre of individuals who are below the PS, who never seem to go anywhere, who no one even seems to know, the directors, the undersecretaries, they run the ministry. That is what I meant by it. I am not saying they're not the CEO. No. I'm simply saying that the actual engine, because if indeed we did what Eric said, then ideal situation...
Then those people would be the PS.
Yes. They would.
And when you give such a person then the power of the pen, then it makes sense.
That person would know exactly what to do because they've been doing it for the longest time. All you'll have done is given them now the authority to do so. But my statement is that not being the case, therefore, yes.
Going through parliament is an important exercise.
It is important because it gives us a clear understanding of those fellows who are vetting. They're the ones who are being vetted, in my opinion.
The MPs?
It is them who are being vetted. Because I listen to the question they ask, and you want to tell someone, see, you could just have stayed at home. Because really, I mean, why did you even wake up to come and do this?
Now, unfortunately,
yes,
the person who's being vetted is being paid for being vetted.
Yes.
It's costing us. Yeah. When these people will be sitting in those committee rooms, vetting these people, they'll be earning an allowance every day.
On the daily.
Yes,
on
they
the
do.
daily.
Yes, they do.
It is complete nonsense.
And you know, it's a predetermined outcome. You already know what the outcome is going to be, and in this case, it is that these people will be cleared.
if you wanted, if you were talking about a top-notch setup where the deed is being done, I would first of all ask these fellows who are vetting, how do we appoint them exactly? Yes. What qualification? Okay, they are MP. That one, they were elected by the people. We've got that one.
That's it.
But what else do they have that puts them in a position to be able to tease out what is required, that when we are listening, we know that this person is being asked pertinent questions relating to their job?
Nothing
else. The
else.
underbelly of all of this is that whether they have that expertise or not does not matter. Do you see what I'm saying? That it doesn't matter whether you'll be able to tease out this information from this individual, because the outcome is already predetermined. That far be it from you to make a decision against the grain, because it has already been suggested that these are the people who've been nominated. They will get those positions.
It just goes like that.
Yeah, they'll get the positions.
You may find one or two people in a committee.
Yeah.
One or two people in a committee who have the relevant expertise. So, for example, the housing committee will have architect Manduku, all right? He's an architect. He's been in the housing sector for a while. So he'll be sitting there. He could tease out some questions to the principal secretary nominee for housing, Charles Hinga. But that's it.
But it doesn't matter.
That's it. That's only
even
the
the people that they rejected.
The chairperson of that committee has zero things on housing.
Even the people that were rejected at the CS nominee vetting issue, they were still. They even reject. Can you imagine? They even rejected them, but they were still cleared.
The most painful bit about this is how these 51 are actually getting before Parliament. Okay? They were shortlisted from a list of 9,000 to 500 and something. They were put into a room where they were sitting with three members of an interview panel for 30 minutes.
That's adequate, isn't it?
That was enough. As in, it was enough for 3 members of the HR committee of Safaricom to sit with Mr. Ndegwa for just 30 minutes and decide, this guy is good enough. He can run Safaricom. Yeah. He can run Safaricom. One interview. No repeat, no return, nothing. Once. For Jane Karuku to actually go through 3 people and be appointed the MD of EABL. 3 people. 30 minutes. And you're running the biggest taxpayer in Kenya.
Yes.
Jokes. What's in the Business Daily?
Today it came. Yay.
He has everything, Bwana. This guy even has the New York Times.
Sorry, please.
Pole, Bwana.
This is what happens when you try to speak and swallow saliva at the same
time. Then your voice gets like a falsetto.
Pole, Bwana.
Right. Share of financially stable Kenyans halves in 5 years.
Take 5. Take 5. Tell us how Ruto's budget is.
Let me tell you as you do the business. Now, I want to tell you, you were asking those 5 days, where was he and what did he do? That's the one I want to tell you.
Oh, tell us.
Okay. Oh, you want to know how the budget will affect you?
No. Tell us the 5 days that the president did not work.
And what he's been doing. 126 meetings in 60 days. So let's see where he went outside of Nairobi. On September 16th and 17th, he was at the Kenya Kwanza Parliamentary Group meeting in Nakuru. Homa Bay is where he was on the 2nd of October at the Africa Inland Church. And then 2 days later, on the 4th of October, he was at the burial of Jackson Gachagua. Kirinyaga is where he was on the 15th of October when he was commissioning the Thiba Dam. Kericho interdenominational church service at the Kericho Green Stadium on the 16th of October. And then he was in Ongata Rongai just the other day, October 18th. Kitui on the 23rd of October. He was at a church service at the AIC Kitui Township, and then he was at an interdenominational church service at Keno on October 30th. Turkana and Samburu is where he was distributing relief food on the 5th of November. And then, just yesterday, he was in Baringo at the International Prayer Service at Carbonet ASK Showground. September 18th to 19th, he was in London, helping to bury the Queen. In New York, he was at Unga, 20 to 23rd of September, 3 days, or rather a day after coming out of London. And then on the 6th of October, he was in Ethiopia launching Safaricom. 10th, he was in Tanzania on a work visit. 8th and 9th of October, he was in Uganda for their 60th anniversary celebrations. And then he went to COP27, November 6th and 8th. Now, on 15th of September, he was not working. On 24th of September, he was not, in the public eye. On the 1st of October.
He didn't hold public meetings.
He did not hold a public meeting.
Meaning his meetings were not made public.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that he was.
It does not mean he was not working. No,
Oh.
no. So you think he was just having.
But can he
putting his
account
feet
for those
up.
days? Us guys, we
On the 21st of October, he did not do that as well. And on the 29th of October, neither did he do that. Okay? So it says that he's been a very, very busy man. He's done a double day's work in just 60 days. And the questions that then are being asked is he going to be able to sustain this? Because he's been busy, but his hustlers are yet to feel his hard work. Is the underlying of that. A Newsplex analysis by The Nation shows that since he's swearing in on the 13th, he's been without any. Dr. Ruto has been without any engagements, at least those publicized by him through his verified social media pages, as well as those of State House, only for 5 days. And so we've looked at those days. His total engagements for September alone, the month he took the oath of office, were 30, consisting of 24 meetings and events at State House, 3 others in the capital, 1 in Naivasha, 2 out of the country. October was even busier for him. He had a total of 42 different engagements. He's been seen in public every day, except 3 days. Between November 1st and 12th, he had 25 meetings, most of them during his 2-day engagement at the 25th United Nations Climate Change Conference at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. It was his 6th international trip since taking office. He has also been to the United Kingdom, the United States, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Tanzania. The president has had a total of 68 different meetings and events at his official residence at State House in Nairobi. Of these, 18 were with Kenyans from different walks of life, while 44 were with members of the diplomatic corps and visiting heads of state. In all, he has had a total of 17 engagements within Nairobi County, but outside State House, 11 to other counties and 32 outside the country. Okay.
I'm moving to the point where they're saying that hustlers are not felt. What were hustlers supposed to be feeling by now?
Well, by now, the hustlers felt that they would have been able to access the Hustler Fund, which was one promise of the campaign trails that did not cease from the mouth of the now president on most of his campaign meetings. They feel as if the cost of life should have actually dropped quite some, as again, this was another promise that was made, and that food and other items contributing to the cost of living should have made a significant drop, at least by this time. It's been a very busy president, but those who felt that they put him into State House as a result of the promises that he made on the trail feel a stab of disappointment because of the fact that most of these things have not happened yet.
What? Okay, so the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury has published the draft regulations for the Hustler Fund. Their draft, that means that people should be sending in their thoughts on it. Now, the thing about it is, their draft regulations, they're just being circulated all over. You go and download it from the National Treasury website. You're telling hustlers to go and understand those things and go and download from the National Treasury website. I come back to, what is the National Treasury doing to make people understand that these are the draft regulations? Let's discuss with the hustler. This is a regulation. This is how we're proposing to actually manage this fund and to give you access to the fund. They have published, they've put them on their website.
The central bank is nestled in this particular ministry. And I go back to the time when we were changing our fiduciary issue and the length and breadth that particular department of government went to inform, educate, and brief their people. A similar campaign for such a serious matter ought to be taken. Yes.
If they want public participation now on these draft regulations, what they should... In fact, the president was at a church service yesterday, right? He did not dare mention a thing about the Hustler Fund regulations. Speaking about everything else. These are the things that they should be talking about and saying, so we'd like to have meetings with hustlers, organize them, boda, nini, all levels of hustlers, and say, this is what the regulation is. What do you think? Let people say, you and your apple to don't know sawa, or you apana, this one we don't like. Otherwise, it's gonna be streamrolled through Parliament. It'll become the thing. Come 1st of December, this is how Hustler Fund is operating.
No, this is the one thing that members of Parliament ought to be talking to their constituencies about. This is an important fund.
Yes.
And you really do need to tell people the nitty-gritties of it, So that come the time when you're talking about going to Parliament, at least you know what Parliament is discussing.
Yes.
You know what Parliament is supposed to be passing or not passing. Even if you don't have a voice to put across, you have read it, you have an idea of what it is. But share of financially stable Kenyans halved in 5 years. Let me just summarize what this is the headline in the Daily Business.
Okay. Business
Daily.
Is that not what I said?
Okay. Sure. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Fine. In 2016, those who were struggling, meaning struggling, kabisa struggling, were below 20% in 2016 in this country. Okay? In 2019, it rose to 30%. Now it is at 40% struggling. Now, this, according to the understanding that is presented in the Business Daily, they have 3 categories: low, struggling, mid-range, and high, healthy, those who are able to cope. Okay? Meaning, whatever changes have come about, they are coping. Now, in that same 2016, 40% of the people were coping well. They were doing okay. Okay? In 2019, it reduced to 22%. In 2021, it became 15%. Now, there's the mid-range. Those who are today you're struggling, tomorrow you're not doing too badly, the next day you're not okay, and so forth. The mid-range. In 2016, that range was 40%.
Wow.
Yes. In 2019, it got to 47%. In 2021, it is 46%. Meaning, as far as this particular survey goes, people who are in dire need of assistance has increased exponentially. Because if only 15% can cope, then it means that other percentile that is below them are people who are struggling. Not a good thing. There are some struggling more than others, but everyone below that is genuinely struggling.
And it's going to get worse.
That is exactly what it's like. You've read the article. That's what it says. It's going to get worse.
It starts here. Ruto's budget cuts and how they affect you. The Treasury has asked all accounting officers to submit revised estimates this week that will see the government trim its spending. According to the circular, no new projects will be launched, an indicator that job creation will be slow. The move will also grossly affect civil servants, media, and suppliers. Let's go to page 8 where that story is. And the story says that there's a circular that came from the National Treasury. The current PS is still Dr. Julius Moya, and he sent that circular to all, they are called what? Sagas. And he told them, this is MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, that they have to cut back on spending. Where is the cutback on spending coming? Cutback on spending is, number one, is on meetings. All international travel, close. Cutting number 2, austerity workers, unions are... The Treasury has asked the State Department to do away with emoluments often accrued by state workers in their line of duty. The move is likely to test the tolerance of workers' unions at a time that the clamor for better pay has been mounting. They've also now gone into one that says they should stop advertising, ban on state advertising, including tenders and job applications in commercial media to help the public save money. This is according to the National Treasury. This is likely to hit hard on businesses in the communication services, including newspapers and televisions or events organizers and equipment. Now, that cut is a big one because he's talking about that on page 8. Page 9, there are 3. Kilifi Mariakani Water and Sewerage Company has put a public notice. Kakamega Water and Sanitary has put a public notice. Homa Bay County Assembly has put a public notice. Ministry of Lands and Public Works and Urban has put an advertisement in the paper. Kenya Rural Roads Authority has put adverts in the papers today. All of these ones, the whole National Treasury is saying they should stop. Unfortunately, they can't because it is the law.
They have to go ahead.
The Public Procurement and Disposal Act says that you must advertise a tender in a newspaper with national circulation, blah, 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 blah. And public notices must also be advertised in newspaper national circulation. So unless you go and change that law, these agencies must continue putting adverts in the papers because
it is the law.
It's the law.
And we're a law-abiding people, are we not?
Of course. I mean...
Keep it here. In the next hour, we talk to 2 parliamentarians. A very good morning to you. 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has said that the government will take firm measures to restore security in Kerio Valley, even as he urged the residents to embrace peace. He said the government is committed to ending cattle rustling to give residents a chance to engage in gainful economic activities. The president asked the leaders from the region to shun divisive politics and work together.
Kazi hiyo ya kukoroga amani, kupiganisha wananchi, bunduki left, right and center, hiyo kazi tutaikomesha. Wawache hiyo kazi kwa hiari, na kama hawatawacha kwa hiari, watawacha kwa lazima. There are not two ways about it.
The president also congratulated William Kamket for working together with the government in dealing with insecurity in Tiaty. He reiterated that what he wants is peace, promising cooperation with the residents of Tiaty.
Na mimi nataka nimshukuru huyu William Kamket. Yes. Huyu muungwana ni kiongozi, kwa sababu hata na yeye anataka tuwe na amani. Kuna watu wengine huko wanawasukuma hawa viongozi. Unajua usipotetea hii hatutakupigia kura. Utafanya hii hatutakupigia kura. Mambo ya kura tumemaliza. Sasa tupange amani ya wananchi. Na mimi nataka nikwambie bwana Kamket, wale viongozi, wale wananchi wengi wa kule Tiaty, wananchi wazuri wenye wanapenda amani, hawa watu tunawapenda na tutafanya kazi na wao. Wale wachache wanasumbua nyinyi na kusumbua sisi, hawa wachia mimi.
Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua appeared to differ with MP William Kamket on the withdrawal of security officers sent to maintain peace in the area.
Na vile rafiki yangu Mheshimiwa Kamket, nimesikia ukiomba rais ati askari watoke. Wacha nikushauri. Sababu ni muhimu. Wale askari wako pale Tiaty, sio kazi wamekosa ya kufanya. Tuko na kazi mingi sana hapa pale Nairobi na pahali kwingine. Wameletwa hapo kwa sababu iko kazi ya kufanya. Njia ya kutoa hao askari, Mheshimiwa, muongee kama viongozi, warudishe buduki, askari waondoke. Lakini kwa sababu mimi ni Mkristo na sema ukweli, ni kuambia mchana rais wangu akiwa hapa, kabla buduki hasijarudi hakuna askari tutaondoa. Haiwezekani.
And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says that withdrawing his 7.4 billion shillings graft case is not enough, and that all cases that are falsely instigated should likewise be scrapped. Speaking in Baringo County, Gachagua said that it was a noble move to clear his name off the courts, however, noting that no one should be criminalized by virtue of personal interest from certain individuals. The second-in-command further noted that he has pardoned all those who incited the police to make the accusations and arrested them.
Juzi, Your Excellency, maaskari wameanza kujitokeza. Wanaenda wanaandika affidavit, wanasema walilazimishwa kutuwekea makesi ya uongo. Simulisikia? Alifika pale kotini akasema mimi niliagizwa na DCI nisukume huyu Rigathi Gachagua, hana makosa, lakini lazima nihakikishe ameshikwa Friday, alale siku 3 mpaka wachane na William Ruto. Akaambia huyu mtu tuliambiwa tumwekelee makesi karibu 10, tukatafuta tukamwekelea makesi 6, tumeondoa. Na hiyo ni mzuri na tunatoa shukrani, lakini kuondolea Rigathi Gachagua kesi haijatosha. Wale watu yote mliwekelea makesi, muende mtoe hiyo makesi, kwa sababu ni makosa kubwa sana kutafutia watu makosa kwa sababu ya msimamo wao wa kisiasa.
And DGP wa Kenya Party leader William Kambogo has raised concern over the rampant robbery incidences within Nairobi and its outskirts. This comes amidst public uproar in the past few months owing to rising cases of broad daylight stabbings, shootings and murder across the country, blaming the National Police Service for inaction. The former Kiambu governor called on Kenyans to unite against crime and bring the perpetrators to book.
Fellow Kenyans, we must now unite more than ever against crime. We cannot be spectators of criminal gangs terrorizing Kenyans as we watch. We must take up our space and say enough is enough. If we don't stop this now, it's going to be a big problem for our country. Today it's someone else, tomorrow it's going to be you. What are you going to do? It's your chance now to take charge as Kenyans.
This as Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has banned hawkers and street families from occupying and conducting business on footbridges within the city. Sakaja says that their 4 said individuals have already been expelled from the footbridges, and the Nairobi Fire Department has already pressure washed the premises for the safety of pedestrians. The move, according to Sakaja, will restore security within the county, further noting that the displaced individuals will be located at appropriate places to act from. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseta, good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, inching closer after 7 o'clock, looking at traffic that's building up in different parts of the city this morning. We had seen earlier on the thicker superhighway coming into the CBD. Going towards North Airport Road, out towards Outer Ring, we're getting towards a packed status there. Also then out towards the Eastern Bypass, starting to build up. Let's take a look at the Northern Bypass. Voila. There's an option for you to get off the madness that is Sticker Road, depending on where you're going in the opposite direction towards Outer Ring. The longer route, but you will not be stuck in traffic. Limuru Road is really busy now, as is Kiambu Road. We're looking at that really packing up now. Use the service lanes on the thicker superhighway. That will help quite some. We're also looking at traffic that has started to build around Gong Road as you're heading out towards that city stadium, or rather city mortuary roundabout. So that's what's happening. That's what it looks like. Tell us where you might be stuck this morning. Hopefully not. And we can keep things moving this Monday. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning, and how are you doing? 7 minutes after 7 on the 14th day of November 2022. It gets to the 14th, and you've got to remember that our friends at the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority are supposed to do the thing. No more fuel subsidy, bei ya mafuta ulimwenguni and all, but we'll hear today. Fuel prices for the next what?
1 month.
For the next 1 month, indeed. Yes, we have 2 guests in the studio who are joining us. These are both members of Parliament, one from the National Assembly, one from the Senate. And before we welcome and introduce them, C.T. Muga, still shining with his Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, has the day's proverb.
Indeed.
From which country?
Mali. Mali. West Africa.
Mali hapa sikutaka.
Where are you?
For a moment there, this man's education informs you. Because those are sort of hymns people used to sing on Sundays at church. When a grown-up man remembers a hymn, that isn't a hymn he learned as an adult. That's a hymn he learned as a child.
It's a Sunday school thing.
It's a Sunday school thing.
Yes.
Mali. When mosquitoes work, they bite, then they sing.
When mosquitoes bite?
No, when they work. When they work.
When mosquitoes work. They bite.
They bite. And then they sing.
It's after the fact.
That's a song.
It starts with biting.
Usually it bites you.
All in a day's work.
All in a day's work.
In a night's work.
Man, these modern mosquitoes, they do not know night or day. They bite anytime.
They have a 24-hour working day.
Yes, and they don't just bite you in the house. They can bite you when you're sitting outside.
24-hour working economy.
Yes, exactly. The mosquitoes understood this.
A long time ago.
We are catching up.
Okay. Our guests this morning are nominated Senator Esther Okenyuri
and Peter Salasia, the Member of Parliament for Mumias East. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. I'll start with you, Honorable Salasia. Karibu sana, you are in the National Assembly, elected under the DAP Kenya ticket, representing the people of Mumias East. You've been all over social media as a sensation, doing very many things, including recruiting a wife. How is that going?
I know it's just all about, I don't know, Kenyans, they like just missionary. Yeah, serious things are not taken so seriously, but simple things are taken so seriously. I think it's quite encouraging also to some extent that you also have to engage Kenyans and take them busy to have something to discuss and talk about.
But you're a serious man.
Very serious. In fact, I'm one of the, I don't know. I don't have, but...
Say it. You're one of the most serious people.
I'm one of the most serious and very organized leader, I think. And in the near future, it will be known.
Very good. We'll hear about that shortly. Esther Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Newly nominated to the Senate.
Yes.
After the first list had gone through, then you were like, oh man, I missed out. And then you saw Senator Soipan Tuya being nominated to the cabinet, and you knew you were next on the list.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Thank you, Eric. First, I come in to replace Honorable Soipan Tuya, who left for the cabinet. I'm widely known as AC on social platforms, and locally where I come from, they call me Nyaituga. It's a Kisii name meaning shelter.
Right.
So how I landed to the Senate, after the first list had come about, of course, I had done work for the party. I've been very instrumental in our by-election command centers, in the recruitment of members. I founded Women for Ruto that was championing the election of President Ruto. So after that work, I merited to be on that nomination list. So after I didn't make it, I'm a very patient person. So I said, Kenya Kwanza has never been about sharing positions, and I know if the president deems it fit to give me a responsibility, it will come in due course. So people tell me, AC, the God you pray, you need to share that God with us. And I thought, when you work hard and every other thing conspires and opportunity and success meets you, and I think this is what happened to me. Interestingly enough, when Honorable Soipan Tuya was serving in Narok as a woman representative, I was in campus then, serving as a student leader, and she used to support my programs so much. I didn't know that 7 years down the line, she would be exiting a platform and I'll be taking over. So for that, I thank God and the President for the opportunity. We are now at the Senate. I'm a true example of the bottom-up philosophy. And that's why the social media platforms were so much to do with my information, especially from the young people. Because I sit in a very special place of both a woman and a young person. And an ordinary person who people have seen grow from down there.
So you were a student leader, and after leaving university, you, in a very short time, you joined politics, and you started working for the party at the grassroots level.
After I graduated, I worked briefly at Safaricom as a call center agent. 7 months down the line, I resigned, joining politics. Then I wanted to be MCA from where I came from, that's Kisii. I didn't manage.
Which constituency, which ward?
I come from Bomachoge Borabu constituency, Bokimonge ward in Kenyenya. When you look at most of those campaign photos, there's a photo that really trended where the deputy president then was being rained on. That was my village. So I came out here and I was mobilizing young people through the umbrella of Kisii Youth Alliance. in those platforms, the young people would demand that AC should address us. And at one point, the president was attending the final Jubilee rally campaigns. I got a platform to address the people, and I was speaking about issues that were really touching on those people. And from the issues I had mentioned, William Ruto then spotted my capability and told me, AC, I think we can work together. So after I didn't get the nomination, he actually offered me a platform in his office to work as an assistant director research in the strategy and delivery unit. My boss there was Dr. John Chikati, who's now the MP Tongaren constituency. So in that platform, we did a lot of work with TVET. Later, I resigned, contributed to the registration of UDA members. That's why I got to this area now. Why in a short while? It does not mean you have to take a very long way for you to be somewhere. It just depends with how strategic you are, how you align your work, and connecting with the right people, and things will work for you. And of course, hard work.
It sounds like a lot of hard work. People just assume that these things are just simple and easy. Something I'll ask you, Honorable Salasia, before joining Parliament, how did you rise to the position of being elected as a member of Parliament through the party nominations and all?
Okay, maybe first and foremost, let me begin by congratulating my sister for being nominated. It's not easy. And also to congratulate your office, because I've been just doing a research on that office. We have people who have been working with the office of the Deputy President. We have Chikati, who's also my friend. We have Kibagendi, who has been also my friend. And you again now. And Kakai Bissau. So you find like all of them by then they landed into, so it's quite amazing and quite encouraging. So for me, I began this journey when I joined in Egerton by the way. And I was, for the first time, I think I vied as a director academics, and I failed terribly. So the other year I tried and made it to be the vice chairman of the SWIL, that is the student body of Egerton. And so in 2017, when I vied, by the way, I failed terribly. I only managed to get 254 votes. So I took an example that when I tried in my first year in the university, I also failed terribly. So I can try the following year, that is the following election, that is in 2022, and I managed to be there. But before that, it was a very long journey, because after failing, I had to start my campaigns because now I didn't have a job and all that. So I had to start moving in funerals because giving even 500 bob, 300 shillings in funeral. So and accepting myself, my situation. So and gaining the popularity, people and all that. So by the time you are getting into, so you see, there was a report that was being given, I don't know by which organization, which was saying that when you are in Kakamega, you must have like around 50 million. So it got me like a surprise. So you are talking about millions, and maybe on my side I don't have even 1,000 bob or whatever. So then I just say, okay, wacha tu tujikaze, because now that is the situation. So we kept on. So I just say that now I don't want to go into party politics, because I'll be knocked out during the nomination. The way my sister was, she didn't manage to get the whatever. So I say that now my popularity is one that will make me get there. So, and my mind now was to go as independent candidate, because we didn't have money to campaign. Yeah. So in the process, I started attracting parties to come to look for me, like ODM, DAP, KANU, and many others. So, but later on, I decided to stick with Eugene. That is was the patron of the party, and he gave me the party ticket, and I managed to be there.
Okay. Yeah. Why did you run for politics? Why did you run for office?
Sorry?
Why did you run for office? What was the reason behind your decision to run for office? Okay, the key reason as to why I tried to look at those people who are going for this seat in my constituency. And when I looked at, because you look at the land where we come from, is a land whereby we do a lot of farming in the sugarcane and whatever.
So, but you find because of we didn't have the true leaders who could not stand with them, with that person on the ground, they allowed the cartels to collapse the company, which is the Mumias Sugar by then, without bringing in an alternative avenue of an economy. So, but now I had that dream that now if I don't go for this seat, there'll be no any other person who will come and serve these people. So I believed in myself as the only voice available that can change the lives of those people. And I started, this is what really gave me the mileage. I started fighting for the Mumias Sugar by then. And then I did a lot of research about the same and realized that the only way to save Mumias Sugar is for it to go through receivership process. And I started campaigning for it. And many people didn't understand about it. They fought me, they did what? I went through trauma and all that. But later on, it was put under receivership through KCB, as I had told them earlier. And today, as we speak, it is on its feet and it's now doing it's now doing at least this job creation and all that. So for me now, and again, I've come in the parliament. I'm now in the agriculture committee. So now just checking on the policies and making sure that the agriculture, being a person comes from a leader who comes from an area where they do farming, to make sure that Mumia stand farm or the sugar industry at large stands strong. Yeah.
You know, you come from a community that boasts to have the only known kingdom in this country.
Yeah. True.
The Wanga Mumia.
Yeah, precisely. The royalty. Would I by any chance be talking to royalty?
Yeah. We are the Navungos. We are the only kingdom. In fact, it's the only kingdom that has the princes and a council of elders. So we are the royal, and then we are trying to bring back that glory right now. Yeah, because now the poverty was changing everything.
Something I want to ask with regards to your being elected. I like your focus when you say that you deemed yourself to be the only person who could actually represent the people. Actually, it's the only way to look at these things, because if you start thinking of other people being equal or better than you, then you won't do what you're doing. What would you say are the plans you have for your constituency? In a nutshell, what do you hope to do, or what do you hope to champion for your people in Parliament now that you are actually the MP?
Okay, first and foremost, there is a bill that was there, and that is what we have tried just to do when I came in, that had been petitioned by Honorable Omnyinyi, and it has gone through all the stages in the Parliament, and it has gone up to the Senate level. But now, you see, there's a procedure. Once maybe the bill has not been tabled in the Parliament, in the Senate, and maybe that period expires, it means that bill has to start afresh.
From ground zero.
From the ground zero. So it's me, Peter Salasia, and Honorable Wangwe and Didmas who petitioned that bill, and we are hoping to come back. And because we're just using the same framework, so very soon it's going to go to the Senate, so that we can, because like right now you find like, in fact, even during my first speech in the Parliament, it's called the Maiden speech. Though many people focused on Madam Speaker, sir, but I had a very key point that I spoke about it, and I said about the issue of the AFA things. AFA is the one that has failed agriculture. That is Agricultural Food Authority. Okay. So it means that all cash crops have been cropped together as just food crops. So that's why now every crop wants to stand on its own. We have seen the tea bill, we have seen the coffee, we are now here sugar. So we are now pushing that each cash crop now, as in the agriculture committee, to be on its own. So that is one thing that I've pushed as one of the agenda. But main thing, within a short period of time, what I've done is that I've brought what we call the digital Ajira. I've tried to mobilize the youth across the constituency, come and learn how to do jobs online. So it's something that is going on, and also partnering with the Ministry of ICT. I think after the CDF comes in, we are going to bring an ICT center in my constituency. I've also tried to bring many platforms like Wezo Fund. I've distributed some checks and all that. This Thursday alone, because of the poverty and because of many challenges in the constituency, of candidates, from 4 candidates, have not been performing so well. So this Thursday, I'm meeting with all the Form 4 candidates in my constituency, where they'll have lunch with me. I'll give them success. I bring people to speak to them, to encourage them, and also give them buses. At least they will be encouraged to. And then apart from that,
buses.
Yes.
Like buses, vehicles.
Yes. Yeah. So
per candidate.
Not the candidate schools.
Okay.
The schools that will be coming. It will be also to serve as one function.
Okay.
I'll be giving to schools around 5 buses to schools. And also just to check on making our young people to learn entrepreneurial skills. And many other things that I have.
That bill that you want to reintroduce to Parliament, what bill is it?
Sorry?
What's the name of that bill?
It's sugar bill.
It's a sugar bill.
Yeah.
So you want to reintroduce it to Parliament?
Yes, so that it can be implemented.
Mm-hmm. What is it that the bill wants to see achieved?
Okay, the first thing is that you realize that the Sugar Act was scrapped off. So we used to have like Sugar Board, where they used to come together, they formulate policies and all that. And then there's been what we call unhealthy competition in the sugar industry. So in fact, Mere Sugar could be doing so well, but because of no policies to guide, you find like the sugar industry is not performing so well. So what is there is we want to bring about each miller must have an outgrowers company. And this is an achievement of these outgrowers companies to ensure that they help the farmers to grow canes by maybe giving them the farm inputs and all that. And also, you cannot go and maybe call for shots as an individual in any miller. You must have like a team which can represent the interest. Then you also need to have what you call the zoning of the whatever, so that now because you find like we have a lot of infights in between. Then there's also challenge about the sugar importation things that need to be fixed on, among many things that are been put into that bill that are able to help the sugar industry to
Do you think in the last parliament, the 12th parliament, the sugar bill actually went through the process normally, or do you have a sense that it was frustrated at some point so that it would be time barred?
Yeah, I think it's something that was frustrated, and it's being frustrated by just the cartels. Because now you see, if you find like maybe you are saying that you want to introduce zoning, so you see like some others will feel uncomfortable, so they will just use the people in. That's why you find like this thing is not moving, and they also collaborate and maybe fix some leaders so that they just keep on moving.
Even so what will you do this time to make it move?
What we are doing is that we are just waiting upon the time. It has been already published, so we're waiting in the next 2 weeks' time to be brought in the parliament. And once it's brought in the parliament, we take it straight to the Senate. And then now we let the public now charge the Senate so that it can be implemented. Yeah.
What about you? I mean, looking at your bid, Esther.
Yes.
Getting into... and then now getting into the Senate by way of nomination, whichever way you want to look at it, was not your first stab at it. Why did you want to get? Because now, as we're looking at the new faces, the new entrants into legislation, into oversight in the country, Kenyans are at a place whereby the hope is that there will be a new injection of activity, of implementation, of saying what was said, maybe not in your case on the campaign trail, will actually be done. Why did you get into this, and what is the hope that some of the things which you may have dreamed you will actually do?
First, I come from a village, a very tiny village, I think, whose coordinates would be very difficult for you guys to locate. So with that in mind, I always wanted to inspire people from where I come from to participate by putting into practice the skills they already have, because most of them either do not go to school because they lack school fees, but there are people who have self-acquired skills that maybe in the TVET system would be graded and maybe certified to do a certain activity. And when I mentioned TVET, my coming to the Senate fulfills part of my plan. I've worked largely on the TVET sector while we were in the strategy and delivery unit, because when you look at skills and TVET is contributing to the affordable housing that the president is talking about, and through those skills and these skilled people contributing to the affordable housing the president is talking about, we are able to offer employment and contribute to elevation of poverty. And looking at the meetings the president has been holding for the first 50 days, it's really promising. I don't think it would be in order to start judging him now from the 50 days so far. I see the meetings are quite promising. And he's only been in office with his cabinet for like a week. That's our plan as the Kenya Kwanza government. But for me as Esther, I look to pushing two key agendas at the Senate. This is by working closely with senators of like mind. I have keen interest on reproductive health that covers breastfeeding issues, infant mortality, teenage pregnancy. And I was sworn in on Tuesday, so I'm yet to join any committees, but I'm looking forward. I made a contribution on Wednesday to Senator Hamida's motion of having mental centers put in different counties. So I think I'm starting on a good note, and I look up to pushing such issues strongly. The other issue is TVET education. That's hopefully, whether I join the education committee or not, I'll be working with senators in that area, because I have a background in TVET issues that we did largely while at the office of the deputy president. We were not an implementing arm, but we were pushing development partners to support the line ministry to do this, which was in line with Jubilee's agenda of having at least a technical institute in every constituency. So for all these things, I take pride that, as I said, I sit in a very unique place of being a young person and a woman at the same time. So in that space, as a woman, I'm pushing on reproductive health issues. And you can see the statistics are very worrying, especially on young girls who are now pregnant and dropping out of school, and on mothers who are dying out of delivery. We are also, the scenarios we are having, currently we have mothers who deliver and they are celebrating their bundles of joy. We have mothers who also suffer miscarriages. So really they have nothing to go back home with. And they are sharing the same rooms with the mothers who've successfully delivered. That has a huge mental, effect on such kind of mothers. So these are some of the issues we are looking into, pushing relevant legislation to cushion such mothers.
Okay. Let's take a break. It's 27 minutes to 8. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. The Honorable Esther Okinyuri is a nominated senator, and the Honorable Peter Salasia is the MP for Mumias East. They are here with us in Parliament, the first time in Parliament. They're youthful leaders, and what we are asking is what we should expect from this breed of new leaders in our Houses of Parliament. Mheshimiwa Salasia, I've been seeing you on social media as well, enjoying some of the finer things in life around Nairobi. Have you heard about the Italian Cuisine Week? It's happening this week, between the 10th and the 20th. CT can tell you, he went for an event last week and he'll take you for the next one. At the Italian ambassador's residence, and they're having this Italian cuisine. What did you eat? You ate ugali.
Polenta is what it's called, but it's actually ugali. And then pasta. The Italian Foreign Ministry has this event globally. And the idea is to allow the world, well, this is now through the embassies in various parts of the world, to allow the world to understand the nitty-gritties of Italian cuisine. Now that starts with the ingredients you put in the food itself, what you consume it with, the wines. Italy is known for wines. I got my first lesson in wine. I was telling my colleagues here, I got to know there was something called a light wine. There was something called a full-bodied wine. I didn't know these things before then. Yes.
Peter is looking at you like, huh?
Yes. And by the way, we're not just being shown.
You were tasting.
We're sampling. Yes, and the sample was not a sip. You're given a whole glass for you to sip at your leisure. Yes, so there are many restaurants within Nairobi that will be participating and sharing this particular experience with people. So if you know of any restaurant that serves Italian cuisine and you go to them, what is that dessert called?
Tiramisu.
Yes, tiramisu. Tiramisu, if you go to any of these restaurants and you order a meal, you will get a taste of this delightful dessert called tiramisu.
Wait.
Yes.
25 to 8. We'll be back shortly with the conversation. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The adults in the room.
I've seen some marriages, relationships, cohabitings struggle because there was no independence of the relationship.
It needs a certain level of intelligence. You need to reach a place where you know yourself. And again, you're not feeding off society.
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not.
Tune into Adults in the Room every Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The adults in the room will help you stay winning. Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Enjoy Black November with Cold Stone Creamery Kenya. Get 2 Gotta Have It cups and 2 cake slices at only 1,500 Kenya shillings. And other amazing deals for you and your friends this November. Visit any of our stores in Nairobi or Mombasa and enjoy creamy, smooth ice cream and deliciously crafted ice cream cakes. Ice cream is always a great idea.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM.
Light rain continues in Nairobi, highs of 24 and lows of 15. We'll see lows of 14 in cloudy Nakuru at 17. 17 and cloudy in Nyeri, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 24 as well. And a partly sunny Eldoret now at 15. 27 and mostly cloudy conditions in Mombasa, highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 30 as well in a cloudy Malindi at 27. It's 20 and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 26 and lows of 19, and we'll see lows of 16 in a sunny Kakamega at 19. Kampala is sunny at 20, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31 in a rainy Dar es Salaam this morning at 27. It's 13 and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 22 and lows of 12, and we'll see lows of 25. In a clear for a change Lagos this morning, it's 23 and light rain in Kinshasa, highs of 31 and lows of 23.
Spice up your life.
All right, the rain is going to compound the traffic situation this morning, that's for sure. We're going to see slower movement coming out where it was already starting to get packed, and specifically on the Thika Superhighway, getting out towards the city and touching on Murang'a Road. It is very heavy. Lunga Lunga is spilling over to Likoni, and that's touching on the southern bypass this morning. Likoni Road, all the way then from the junction of Jogo Road, it's going out towards Enterprise and then on towards Mombasa Road. So that's one to watch out for. It's heavy coming off of Kiambu Road today, and we're looking at the same thing happening on Limuru Road. So that's heavy traffic. If you've not left and you're heading in those directions, you want to think about alternate routes. It is raining, and so that makes everything slow down a tad. Actually, more than a tad. On James Gishuru going out towards Westlands, that's really busy as it is coming out of Lavington, Mzima Springs, out then towards Waiaki Way. On towards Red Hill Link Road, use that as an option to get away from the busyness that is Westlands this morning. So that's what it looks like at a few minutes after 8:30. Let's take a look back in about half hour and see what's going on. Talk to us on SpiceFM, KE on Twitter.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
We continue the conversation at
94
21 minutes to 8. This is the Situation Room on SpiceFM, online and on KTN Home. Esther Kinyuri, nominated senator, and Peter Salasia, Mumia's East MP, in the studio. City.
Mheshimiwa Esther.
Yes.
The task you set for yourself to try and sort out this complicated issue of maternal child health care, something that even the ministry itself has grappled with. I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Yes.
1, how many health facilities do you have within the ward you come from? Not constituency, ward.
Thank you. I have one health facility in my ward, that's Bokimonge ward.
What level of health facility is it?
It's a district hospital. It's a sub-county hospital.
Aha.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how large is the maternal arm of this particular facility?
Very squeezed there.
Bed capacity?
And that's why I said that's the challenge we are coming in to highlight. Having women who are, all these women combined in one room. That calls for pushing for more funding down to the counties. In as much as counties should be generating their own revenue, we need political goodwill. And when I look at the current Senate, with the chair of the Health Committee, Honorable Mandago, there has been expressed a lot of goodwill in supporting the health sector in the counties. Yeah.
Do you have or do you know of a working arrangement that the health facility has with, say, traditional birth attendants?
Women in the village have been giving birth locally,
yes,
which we have not been encouraging because not all these people are, in as much as they are qualified, but we are now experiencing issues like, those old mamas there might be even sharing the kind of equipment they are using. So even transmitting HIV and other infections. So we've been trying to encourage women to go to hospital. And for these women who have been doing it locally, get certification. That's the home-based healthcare providers. But that doesn't mean like with these people in place, we are sorting out the issue completely. But really, this Kenya Kwanza government has shown a lot of political goodwill in having the health issue work. There's a difference. You see, these are the people other guys have been calling takataka. The takataka guys are the ones who are doing this work and helping the professionals.
You see, traditional birth attendants are experts.
Yes.
Because if you look at the population, say, of your village, you would be amazed at the number of families who have relied on these very same people to deliver people who are probably now grown up and getting on with their lives. Where I'm going to with my question is this. Sometimes waiting for the system of government to kick in, it does kick in, but in its own time. Yet you also mentioned the existence of partners whom you've been working with.
Yes.
I'm certain these partners would know how to help with the certification and also help encourage, because when you have traditional birth attendants who have been certified, what you've done is you've increased your health force, your healthcare personnel. And then there's the issue of the community health workers. Again, these partners, how many partners do you have in your constituency who help with just basic healthcare?
Currently, I wouldn't want to be specific.
Yes, but roughly around about 2.5.
I would not want to quote exact numbers, really. I do not want to go to that direction. But the point I'm driving at, these guys who are doing this are ordinary people. They are hustlers who are thinking, if I do this, I'm able to support myself in a small way. While we're encouraging these people to continue doing what they are doing, you've actually talked about accreditation. TVET Authority under Dr. Kipkirui Langat has been doing that to cover such kind of people. But whereas we're encouraging them to do what they're doing best, we need to embrace the professional bit to avoid the issues I've mentioned.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
In fact, not we do, we must.
We must, really.
Yes.
In as much as we are saying, they're hustlers, they're looking for what to, make something out of it. We respect their profession, whichever way they've been doing it, but we now need to have a a way that is acknowledged and supported by the government of Kenya. And like I've said, from what the president has been doing, he's been meeting very key stakeholders, and he's expressed a lot of goodwill in wanting to support both the Senate and the National Assemblies in pushing some of these issues. Like, for instance, let me deviate kidogo, issues to do with reproductive health care. Women are largely affected, and we've seen the president even nominate 10 cabinet level women to be in his cabinet. 7 were full cabinets and 3 were portfolios equal to the level of a cabinet position. When you compare that to the past regimes, during President Uhuru's time we had 6 of them, Kibaki's time we had 4. You would argue, yes, it's not about sharing positions, but having these women on those decision-making tables is a large push in making some of these things happen. And women have been a key, they've been integral in the Kenya Kwanza government and in pushing this health issue I'm talking about, because you can't push for what you do not go through or understand.
You can, but you can't push it as effectively as somebody who has gone through it.
And really, it's like, and that's what I'm talking about. You see, like when I talk about young people and skills, I've been in those areas because I didn't come to Nairobi, where the president, then the deputy president, William Ruto, found me in those vibanda.
In your village.
He didn't know me, but through how I'd positioned myself there, and the ordinary people there were able to say, yeah, we have someone who's been doing this, and they acknowledged the little contribution I was making. You see, now I'm lucky I had a platform. What about the several hundreds of young people who do not have that platform?
This is true, and I mean, absolutely, it's true. And unfortunately, we are operating in a system where then now, when the opportunity comes, it's lost. When we find people were community activists before they got into government per se, the impacts that they had before that seems to get lost. And what people are looking for today is a guarantee that now that you are in this position of senator, nominated or otherwise, that the things you would have done then would come out to a more elevated level, that the livelihoods of people then would be protected. And I think what folks are looking for today, whether it is you as a nominated senator or you as a member of parliament in Mumias, the question is, how can people be sure, now that you are in this position, that where we've previously seen activism go to government to die, how can they be sure, Kenya Kwanza government in power notwithstanding, that you will actually do what you need to do to represent the people fully? I think that's the question. Whether it's young faces today, it's new faces today, how can Kenyans be sure that this clamor, the push and pull, give younger people the chance, give new faces an opportunity. All right, there's the opportunity. What are you going to do with it? And I think that's the question. You, not the government of the day.
You as Waheshimiwa, individually.
Okay, I think that is a very pertinent issue because you realize even we have people like Kina Mtata, who has been elected as the senator. You have many, but you see, with the a short period of time that I've been in the parliament, I think I've learned where there are loopholes, some things that makes many vibrant people who comes in the parliament and then they keep quiet, they get silent. And one way is that we have the party position thing. Like last we were in Nakuru, in Naivasha. We were having a retreat for the young parliamentarian, and you realize that there even.
How old do you need to be considered a young parliamentarian?
Less than 35 years.
Okay.
So we were there, but we have also some who are more than that, but they were there. They say that we are thinking like young people.
Young at heart.
Young at heart. So we were there. And what we were trying just to discuss as young people is that this issue of the party position is the one that has killed many vibrant people, because you can have a good idea. But just because the instruction have come from up there and saying that this is the position of the party, whether you like it or not, that is the position. So we were trying to say that we know we have come from both Azimio, me from Azimio, others from Kenya Kwanza. Can we put aside, and as young people, can we have one position when we have many challenges are facing this country? And then you see, like in the parliament, when you come also, we are so many people. You might have a chance, you want to address an issue that is burning. But just because of the stereotype, you are a first timer. They say, you are a first timer. They want even to give to the, even the mistake is there. And you'll find that speaker saying that, the first timer, these mistakes should be done by the first timers. So we, the first timers, sometimes they're not given. But now we say, we'll tell the speaker that we don't want to see that kind of stereotype. We want to be given time and also speak. Veterans.
You want your space as well.
Yes, we also want a space, and this one will also give us the platform to address the key issues that are. But again, what I just think we can do, if we'll try that channel of the parliament and fails, then we will stand on our own. And if we can shout it even from outside, if they have the people who are there, the party position and there, we cannot speak on our own. Because if they say that if you don't stand on the party position, you will be maybe removed in the committees, you'll be done what? So it's some of the things, challenges that are facing.
Mheshimiwa Salasi, are you saying that after the Naivasha retreat, the young parliamentarians decided that they will be speaking with one voice?
Now that is
on issues that are pertinent.
Yeah, and I think because we also be having another retreat, I think we were talking about the elections. But now when we go to another retreat, should be the position. I should want to hear them, because now you see, like even the positions, they say that season work, we want this position, this one. So that is one thing that is affecting this country.
So, for example, have the young parliamentarians taken a position on the PS nominees? Representation of the youth in these PS nominees, the representation of the youth in all the nominees that we've seen so far.
I haven't seen anything, because now you realize that again, one of the biggest challenge is that like you just, when you are being elected in the party, in the committees, you just find the instruction has come from there. Me, I try to vie as the vice chair of the agriculture committee, but you know what they told me? My fellow youth, they told me I received the instruction from the State House, and I'll go with the guidance of which you have been. So you cannot start with your own fellow youth. So I think as Kenyans, let us say the truth. This thing, but I'll also try to look for friends.
Are you saying the party is not important?
Huh?
That the party should not guide you, should not whip you?
Okay.
You have a whip.
But you see, like the way just our madam has said, you might have a position. Like right now, you have heard about you talked about something to do with the fuel, about the subsidies, the Bino, whatever. But now you see, if the boss of Mheshimiwa Senator has said that they will not raise that issue. They will not raise it. And when they go to the parliament, they just wait for the voting. So when we just start shouting. Like recently we are having a conversation about the clerk, right? So there's me guys, we're having a position. But then they have a position, they just keep quiet. They're just waiting for voting.
Is that true, Esther? Is that a fair assessment, really?
My experience, I've been at the Senate for 4 days only, but my experience is quite different. Like when I've made my maiden speech, the speaker of the day really encouraged me and said that challenged veterans in the House. So that was, that's one way of supporting these young people who are coming to these platforms to make contributions, which are meaningful to this country. And I think the Senate as a upper house, we have me as Esther, I see a very good platform because the people there are very supportive. And it's not just about being Kenya Kwanza. When you get to the house, you have to strike a working relationship between people of the other side, because now we have a shared ideology of making or improving the lives of Kenyans. Getting to back what Madam here was saying, that activism dies once you get to the house. I don't think it dies. People fail to align what they wanted to push for with the right people. Because they do not, like now at the Senate, like I said, I'm yet to join any committee. But by the time I got in there, I knew who was dealing with the issues I had interest in. And I'm already aligning myself with those people, be it they're in Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. You see, you might have an idea, but you do not know how to craft it to fit into a way that is implementable. Because you're at the house, you're not going to be an activist. You're not in a position of making laws that are going to support what you've been shouting out there. So I think once you align your thoughts that you had out there, you're now in a position of a leader. You should be giving direction. You should be able to put your thoughts together and have something tangible that is going to impact on many people. And clearly, when you look at, for example, what the Kenya Kwanza government is saying, we want affordable housing. With affordable housing, Kenyans are able to improve their lives. We improve infrastructure, and we reduce the debt burden we are having. Generally, then people can start feeling the effect of this Hustler Nation government they voted for. So for me, as a young person, who's just gotten to that house, I'm very optimistic because I see political goodwill, and I'm a hard worker. Once you're a hard worker and you know how to collaborate with the right people, surely, even with the bureaucracies we still face, you should be able to push your agenda. On the issue of party positions, speaking of Kenya Kwanza, with UDA being one of the largest parties in that coalition, UDA has a plan that's the bottom-up economic model that covers all that we had been advocating for during the campaigns. So a party position in this matter is very important. If we do not have a party position to support the bottom-up model that we've been talking about,
then we'll scatter. Here's the thing, though. In the National Assembly, Mheshimiwa Salasia is able to vote. Vote the decisions in the National Assembly either by acclamation or by division, where each member can cast a ballot, including nominated members. Not so in the Senate, where in Senate you vote by delegations. The decisions are voted by delegations. The leader of your delegation is not a Kenya Kwanza MP.
And that's why I told you, see, the last time we had a case of Senator Okongo Mogeni. Senator Okongo Mogeni was not voted for to be in the PAC just because he was Azimio. In as much as he's been Azimio, he's been very instrumental in the Senate in supporting us with legal knowledge and so many other things. That's why when it came to his position, even Kenya Kwanza was in support. That's why I'm saying the plan that Kenya Kwanza has been pushing for, any person of sound mind and goodwill sees the essence of supporting this.
So what about in cases where you have a certain position, but the leader of your delegation, the Honorable Onyonka, the senator for Kisii, has a certain different position? Your vote doesn't count. And you
see, even if it doesn't count, I said you work out collaborations with other people. You see, if you say youth, young people who are in the Senate, we have very few young people. Because most of, Senate has always been deemed a house of retirees, and we're intending to change that narrative. Because this time around, you're seeing very vibrant young faces, and we want to change that narrative. And that's why when I got sworn in immediately, the next 2 days I made contributions on the floor of the house. and meaningful contributions.
Waheshimiwa.
Yes.
Imagine 1 hour is a very short time. We want you to keep coming back. It's very important that you've joined us today, and we thank you very much for joining us. We'll keep inviting you, especially when you take the motion by the bill back to Parliament, when you have motions that you're pushing. Come and use the platform as well to talk to Kenyans. The Honorable Peter Salasia is member of the National Assembly representing Mumias East, and Esther Okenyuri is a nominated senator in the Senate, nominated by Kenya Kwanza. We thank you very much for joining us. Keep it here for more conversations. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
Good morning. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has congratulated Tiati MP William Kamkat for working together with the government in dealing with insecurity in Tiati. He reiterated that what he wants is peace, promising cooperation with the residents of Tiati.
Na mimi nataka nimshukuru huyu William Kamgat. Huyu muungwana ni kiongozi, kwa sababu hata na yeye anataka tuwe na amani. Kuna watu wengine huko wanawasukuma hawa viongozi. Unajua usipotetea hii hatutakupigia kura. Utafanya hii hatutakupigia kura. Mambo ya kura tumemaliza. Sasa tupange amani ya wananchi. Na mimi nataka nikwambie bwana Kamket, wale viongozi, wale wananchi wengi wa kule Tiati, wananchi wazuri wenye wanapenda amani, hawa watu tunawapenda na tutafanya kazi na wao. Wale wachache wanasumbua nyinyi na kusumbua sisi, hawa wachia mimi.
In a Thanksgiving ceremony in Baringo, Kamkat had asked the president to direct officers sent to restore peace to go deep into the forest in pursuit of the bandits, insisting that bandits aren't found on the roads but deep in the forest.
Hivi vijana wetu wamejaa barabara, askari, naomba your excellency, hakuna bandit wako kwa barabara. Hawako kwa barabara, wako msituni. Hawako kwa barabara. So naomba saa waende tu huko. Iko raia wengi wanataka biashara ya amani. Naomba tu kwa heshima na unyenyekevu waondolewe kwa barabara, waingie huko ndani, watusaidiane kwa disarmament. Na behind you 100% in your agenda to bring peace to our county and to our country. Asante sana.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, while responding to Kamkat, insisted that the officers sent to Tiati to deal with insecurity will not be removed as demanded by Kamkat.
Na vile rafiki yangu mheshimiwa Kamkat, nimesikia ukiomba rais ati askari watoke. Wacha nikushauri. Sababu ni muhimu. Wale askari wako pale Tiati, sio kazi wamekosa ya kufanya. Tuko na kazi mingi sana hapa pale Nairobi na pahali kwingine. Wameletwa hapo kwa sababu iko kazi ya kufanya. Njia ya kutoa hao askari, mheshimiwa, muongee kama viongozi, warudishe buduki, askari waondoke. Lakini kwa sababu mimi ni Mkristo na sema ukweli, ni kuambie mchana rais wangu akiwa hapa, kabla buduki hasijarudi hakuna askari tutaondoa. Haiwezekani.
The Nairobi County Governor Sakaja Johnson says he will meet the Inspector General of Police this week to address the rising cases of insecurity in the city. Speaking in Dandora, Sakaja urged parents to counsel their youth against engaging in crime, as the law will inevitably catch up with them.
Yule Inspector General of Police mpya ambaye alikula Biblia aliapishwa juzi, niliongea naye nikiwa Egypt na kukutana naye ili tuwe na suluhisho ya crime Nairobi hii.
Instead of what we had as Kazi Mtaani, we are soon launching a program of tree planting that our young people will be engaged in. Our young people will be getting 2,500 shillings a week for 4 days. They work for 4 days, they get 2,500 shillings, and they help us plant trees and maintain those trees. Ili wawe na kitu kwa mfuko.
The governor further expressed concern on the involvement of border operators in criminal activities, saying they will have to register transport cooperatives which will be allocated specific stages to pick, drop and wait for passengers.
And we say that we are mapping out them to be organized. So that once you've registered all of them, we know from your reflector you're a border from Kayole or from Dandora or from Westlands. This is the route you're operating. When you come into town, this is your drop-off zone, these are your stages. This handling around where there are no stages, we will not allow it as a county government.
County government tutafanya yetu, kuweka mataa, kuhakikisha tumemulika kila mahali. Polisi tumekubaliana nao vile watachunga raia. Ukipatikana usikuje kutulilia.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has defended the performance of the Kenya Council government under President William Ruto's initial stages of leadership of the 100 days MAC approach in early December. Mudavadi stated that despite the difficult times being experienced, especially from the inherited huge public debt, the dwindling economic situation in the country and the drought and famine situation in most parts of the country, ultimately things will shape up step by step. Mudavadi hinted that the first cabinet meeting under his new dispensation held last week gave a roadmap on what is to be done moving forward, dismissing critics who are claiming that the government has failed. And former President Uhuru Kenyatta is in the Democratic Republic of Congo for high-level consultations with the DRC's President Felix Tshisekedi on the quest for peace in the eastern DRC. The dialogue in the EAC-led peace process has been re-energized to incorporate local DRC community leaders and stakeholders to bring a comprehensive solution to the security situation. This is Newswire. Dennis Asata, good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
Gong Road is quite something this morning, and we're looking at going all the way through and touching on what's coming off Raila Odinga Way. Really busy in both directions. If you're going out then towards Lavington or towards the city, you might want to use an alternate route to get out of that slow down traffic. Heading out towards the CBD. Coming off Thika Superhighway is heavy. Juja Road is doing the magic today, and it's in and outbound traffic. Heavy, and then going out to touch on Muranga Road, which is just as heavy as you go towards the Globe Cinema underpass. Okay. So that's extremely busy. We're looking at Limuru Road as well. Within this whole Parklands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 avenues. Yes. And then coming out towards Westlands, we're looking at James Gishuru now, really busy. You'd have escaped earlier through the Red Hill Link Road, but that seems to be jamming up right now. So it looks like patience is what's going to be needed. You may not be able to escape if you're already out and about. So you're just going to have to apply some patience as we get out through the morning, which, by the way, still continues to drizzle. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Try to keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the
Good
only
morning,
way to start your day.
We are on to the third hour of The Situation Room this morning. Happy Monday, wherever you are locked in from. We thank you very much for choosing The Situation Room as the way to start your day. We are live on SpiceFM. We are also live on KTN Home and live streaming the show on YouTube and Facebook. The reason I keep saying we're live streaming the show is so you know that you can also get to watch the show much later in the day. If you miss the show at any point because, well, you got into a meeting, you woke up late or something happened, you just go onto YouTube. SpiceFM KE is our channel, and you find the day's interviews or even last year's or last week's conversations. All of them are there. We have a new guest in the studio. Before we welcome and introduce him, CT, using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, has the day's proverb.
Yes. When mosquitoes work, they bite, then they sing.
When mosquitoes work, they bite,
and then they sing.
This is a proverb from Mali.
It's a proverb from Mali.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
It's actually very interesting when you think about it. It's giving a human presence and animating a mosquito.
Yeah.
So that is a human being. It's singing. The biting bit, yes. It doesn't actually bite you really. It pricks you. Yes. But for purposes of understanding it from a human perspective, we will say it bites you.
Suleiman Shabal, investment banker, businessman, politician, is our guest this hour. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. You know, every time I come here, Charles always starts off with a very philosophical note. Today he's talking about mosquitoes, and but I think for the young viewers out there, let me also start with a Nigerian proverb.
Oh, wow.
Okay, which Chinua Achebe used to be very fond of saying. He says, the man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding. I think you've had that, Charles.
Woman doesn't talk to her, will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Yes.
He will not be denied looking, but that's all he'll be doing.
That's all.
It will be too late by
He'll
then.
just be looking.
She'll be married to somebody else, and all he'll do is serve lunch. Shabal, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
The last time you're here, it was at the height of the campaigns.
Correct.
You are one of the leaders in Azimio, those who are on the front line campaigning for the Azimio ticket.
Yes.
Of course, it went the way it went. We have a new government in place. Azimio is in the minority in the National Assembly and in the Senate. And now we're looking into going forward. So far, 7 weeks or so into this administration, are we on track?
I think it would be too early to start judging now. It's only, this is the first 90 days. It's the honeymoon period. I've seen a number of things that are actually quite encouraging. I'm seeing some very decisive moves on a few issues. And what's important is the election's over. Okay. We have a new president. We have a new administration. We have to move on and make the best of it. So let's not talk about the campaign and all that. That's now history. What's important is that we have enormous economic challenges ahead of us, and it's time for bipartisan cooperation to move this country forward. That's what matters right now.
What are these encouraging, decisive moves that you've seen?
I'm involved in the affordable housing sector, which I personally believe is extremely critical goal to move our people into the middle income segment. And in the last administration, we had a lot of promises. We were long on promises and short on delivery. So a lot of these affordable housing projects were taking too long. For example, on the issue of title deeds. Developers can't move forward if there is indecisiveness on the title deed. On the issue of VAT exemptions, for example, the government had issued VAT exemptions. On a number of things like that were taking forever. This administration, or more specifically the president, has moved very decisively to make this happen. Now, if he brings the same decisiveness in other critical issues, then I think we're in for a more effective government.
Okay.
So, I'm an optimist. I always want to look at the positive sides of life, and let's hope that the other good things that we are expecting will happen.
The current talk in Parliament is with regards to nominations to the East African Legislative Assembly. 9 slots available for Kenya. Various political parties are nominating their people to be voted for by members of Parliament. You've been nominated by your party, ODM, among others who are under the Azimio coalition. There are those who have also been nominated by Kenya Kwanza. And there are very many people who are seeking just these 9 slots. Take us through, because now you understand this thing. What is the process of actually getting somebody to go and represent us in Arusha?
I think let's start with the process. The Kenya Kwanza coalition has 5 seats. And the Azimio brigade has 4. So on both sides of the divide, you find that I think more than 500 people applied for these 15 positions. So the parties had to sift through all these applications and zero down on who they felt was best qualified to represent the country. And at the same time, they had to strike a regional balance. So you'll find that Azimio has nominated people from across the country. Same thing with Kenya Kwanza. And what will happen next is that Parliament will vote. They'll vote for the Azimio candidates, and they will vote for the Kenya Kwanza candidates. And may the best man or woman win.
When we say Parliament will vote,
yes,
we mean the National Assembly.
The National Assembly and the Senate.
And the Senate.
Yes.
So all of them must vote. Now, are we saying that all members, say, of the National Assembly will vote for Azimio candidates?
No, there'll be two. There'll be two votes. One vote will be for the Azimio candidates, and they have to select 4. And then the second vote will be for the Kenya Kwanza. They have to select 5.
And all members of the House, including those in Azimio, must select the Kenya Kwanza people.
Correct.
So it has to be unanimous, a majority decision.
Majority decision.
A majority decision in the House.
Yes. Because ultimately, once you are elected, you're not there representing Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. You're there representing the people in the Republic of Kenya. Yeah.
Okay, so what we are saying is that we will not see a playing out of politics the way we've normally done here. That the end goal really is to say the face and the embodiment of the sovereignty of Kenya is what is being held at the Assembly. What work then by the legislators is actually done at the Assembly?
You mean at the East African Assembly?
At the East African Assembly.
Well, representing our national interest, because you see, the East African community, the East African Legislative Assembly brings together representatives from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, I believe South Sudan, and now even Congo will eventually be there. And while we have a lot in common interests, we also have rivalries and differences between us. And the East African Assembly's main objective is to try and find and build common ground amongst these East African countries. And of course, once people get on a negotiating table, everybody's looking for his own interest, you know. Even in the family, you'll find the kids are negotiating for their own personal interest. So this is normal, you know.
It is, but if you look at the East African community and you look at other trading blocs even within the region, perhaps what dominates many of these discussions are the benefits that one hopes to derive, the business benefits one hopes to derive from these associations. Now, the question I'm asking myself is, are hard-boiled politicians really the right people for a position in Yala? Let me explain to you why I'm asking myself the question. Because when I say hard-boiled, I mean someone whose very breath is politics. Everything they utter is politics. And yet the issues that we're looking at here are not necessarily political. There's need to have a knowledge of what it is that an economy, now not forget the country, the economy of this particular country can benefit from, and how that can be in tandem with the other countries that are part and parcel of this bloc. Now, would you then say, Mr. Shabal, that given that you're a businessman, that you would consider yourself favorable in this regard?
It didn't take long for him to put me on the ropes. Absolutely. You know, number one, what you said is right. The two key considerations in the East African Assembly is, number one, security issues and economic issues. But even more interesting, you know, when you travel across this country, you discover some very interesting things. We were in Budalangi, which is in Nyanza, and the people are complaining that when they go fishing just across... Western.
Yes.
Okay. That when they go fishing across, they get harassed by Ugandans. We were in Turkana, And somebody was telling us that one time President Uhuru was looking for Munyes. Couldn't find him. Where was Munyes? Munyes was in Ethiopia. But where's Ethiopia? It's across the river. Okay, so they crossed the river. They go across the river to go and have a beer or two. Okay. The same thing, you go to Northeastern. You find that the border is very porous. So we have a lot of common interests between our countries. But when you start saying that whether politicians are qualified to discuss economic issues, you really have a very low opinion of politicians, don't you, boss?
That's because a secret, I think.
No, because you see, politicians, once the politics is over and they go to parliament, what are the issues they discuss? It's the economic, social, and political issues of this country. And many of them, and I would say a vast majority of politicians, have a good understanding of the economic issues facing this country. So I don't know why I think you need to moderate your opinion of politicians a little bit on the higher side.
It isn't me to moderate it. It's me to have evidence that would lead me to moderating it. Because I arrive at the position I'm in because I look at the responsibilities that our parliaments have and the role that is actually their mandate, solely theirs, making laws, ensuring that there's an element of oversight. And I look at some of the ills we discuss in the country. It is because these very same individuals collectively did not do what they were supposed to do. They are the ones who are poised. It's them. There's nobody else. But they didn't. We always have issues, for instance, with the discussion of budget. We have a budget-making parliament. After the budget has been passed, then you hear of people saying, no, we argued that the price of bread should go down. You're asking yourself, for heaven's sake. There's a much bigger issue here, and you're the people dealing with it. What on earth were you doing? Now, if it is on the issue and bread, maize meal, and then such individuals with such thinking are taken to the East African, to EALA, to be discussing cross-cutting issues about, I fear to think how they are going to make decisions that will be. I really fear to think. It is not what I think. It is what I think based on what I have seen and what I've experienced. Yes.
Let me comment to that. In the last 10 years of my involvement in politics, I have met probably 100 or so broadcasters, people like you. And out of those 100 or so, there are maybe 10, 15 of them who are completely useless. Totally useless. And you walk into a studio and within 5 minutes you realize I'm wasting my time. But you also have broadcasters who are brilliant. And I'm pleased to say this group of 3 here are part of those brilliant people. So you cannot judge a body of 400 elected members on the basis of a few incapable people and assume that the entire parliament is incapable. We have some very, very brilliant and well-informed people there. So let's focus on the good rather than on the negative.
The thing is, I don't know. That's
the truth. You cannot assume 400 people elected by the people of Kenya that all of them are incompetent.
You know, what do you judge a group of people by?
Not by the chaff.
Shabal, you take on city on this one. We will be here until 1 a.m. Not even 1 p.m. 1 a.m.
But your point is well made.
Yes. So there are people,
and I concede that indeed there are very many parliamentarians who are brilliant. I concede that they have made very, very, very useful and beneficial contributions. That is also true. Yes.
The work of the East African Legislative Assembly is broad. It's looking at laws that they would make for the region that in some cases need to be domesticated in the regional parliaments, in the individual countries' parliaments, but also looking at that whole journey of integrating the East African community. Now,
the conversation about integration of East African Community, political federation, into economic integration and all, has been going on slowly, but we've been increasing the number of members into the EAC. Now we are 7 member countries of the EAC. Do you see that integration actually coming to fruition? Let's start with a proper 100% economic integration.
It will take time, but you see, the journey of 1,000 miles has to start with one step. We have a number of challenges that need to be addressed. You know, if you look at East African trade today, between all of us, it's below $2 billion. Okay. Our largest trading partner is Uganda, and our exports to Uganda are $920 million. Now, let me put that in perspective. Ours is $2 billion. The trade that passes through the port of Jebel Ali alone is $89 billion. What does that tell us? That our trade is almost insignificant. And for me, the biggest attraction of EALA is that we have to push our economies to become exporting economies. And our export markets are not just our East African markets. Our export markets have to be outside. We need to invigorate and start our special economic zones. And this is something I've been talking here for the last 10 years. I'm sure I've told you this until you're bored with it, but it has to be our national imperative. The Chinese economy moved out of poverty because of Shenzhen, one special economic zone. And within 10 years, they lifted China out of poverty. The same principle was applied by what we call the Asian tigers, and they changed their economies. Why aren't we doing it here? Because of our East African community push and pull and regulations that are impeding the development of these special economic zones. Now, for us in Kenya here today, I am more concerned about our unemployed youth than the sensitivities of our partners and our neighbors. So we have to push the East African community towards understanding that it is in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo's interests that we start focusing on our special economic zones to drive economic agenda and to move things forward. Look at AGOA, probably one of the greatest opportunities, economic opportunities that we have ever had. The United States imports $350 billion of clothes every single year. Kenya exports $350 million. So we're not even doing 0.01%. Why? Why aren't we taking advantage of that? Why isn't Kenya becoming a major exporting country? As long as we continue under the current trade regime, we're not going anywhere. So my first priority is to push our economic agenda. And I strongly believe that this economic agenda should be the same economic agenda that Tanzania is following, that Uganda is following, that the Congo is following. And we should stop and start moving away from these parochial, regional concerns. You know, at one time we're blocking Ugandan milk from coming into Kenya. Uganda is blocking our chickens from going into Uganda. I mean, what sort of nonsense is this? You know, we need to look at the bigger picture and move on. Now, if I can get a platform to do that, that will make me very happy.
How do you balance that between that, looking at how to trade as a bloc, Kenya's interests, where our neighbors, our partners in the East African community have sort of been feeling rather unhappy when Kenya goes ahead and starts conversations with America to sign trade agreements with America, when Kenya is signing trade agreements with the United Kingdom, and then that has an impact on the East African community. How would you balance that if you are in the assembly?
That's why it's important to sit at a regional platform and recognize that our $2 billion of trade between us is peanuts. Why are we focusing on the peanuts? Why are we focusing on the small issues instead of focusing on the big issues? Now, my friend, if you are not going to do serious business with me, I'll go and do it somewhere else. And I think that should be the driving agenda. We need to push the East African community to be more aggressive and more internationally focused, rather than continuing with our regional trade restrictions.
Let's take a break. 29 minutes after 8. Suleiman Shabal is a businessman, politician. He is ODM's nominee for position of East African Legislative Assembly member representing Kenya. He will be voted for by members of the National Assembly and the Senate this week. Which day specifically?
Thursday.
On Thursday. All right. He's here. We are talking about the importance of Kenya having a strong representation in the East African Legislative Assembly. Have you booked your position in the bus? Because Jimmy Gathu is taking people where to? Naserian Ridge Phase 3, a gated community located 20 minutes from Ngong town along the newly tarmacked Ngong Suswa Road and only 500 meters from the tarmac. Fully beaconed, fenced, individual freehold titles, close proximity to amenities, and then it has electricity and water and a church and public school. And how you need to do is, all you need to do is book your space on the bus, because Jimmy Gathu will be taking you to go and see for yourself this place. 2,000 shillings, pesa ya macho ya kuweka mafuta, as you accompany Jimmy Gathu. How do you book your slot? Just send the 2,000 bob to paybill number 4068347. That's paybill number 4068347. Account, put your national ID.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yolanda Mulwa, DJ Absolute. When the gang is together,
got the sugar, got the spice.
Yorada. Yes.
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Yeah?
Like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys give more money than you can count. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So if you say it's on, then it's on.
Yeah.
The drizzle continues in Nairobi at 17, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 24 as well in Nakuru, where it's cloudy at 18. 17 and sunny in Nyeri, highs of 23, and 24 will be the high in a cloudy Eldoret at 15. Partly sunny conditions now in Mombasa at 27. We'll see highs of 30, and 30 will also be the high in a rainy Malindi at 28. It's 21 and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 31 in Dar es Salaam, where it's now at a drizzle. 16 and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 21, and we'll see highs of 32 in a now cloudy Lagos at 26. It's mostly sunny at 23, highs of 31 and lows of 23 in Kinshasa.
Spice up your life.
All right, still looking at heavy traffic coming off the Thika Superhighway, and Juja Road is also doing that thing. Whatever is connecting with Outer Ring today, extremely busy traffic. We're looking at Manyanja as well as Kangunda Road. And then Juja getting into the city. Coming off the Thika Superhighway, it's not looking any prettier than it was about an hour ago, as well as Kiambu Road, which is in and outbound traffic, many lanes now, trying to get towards Muthaiga Square. Okay, in Westlands, going into Lavington, coming off of Gitanga and Valley Arcade, and all of this, our Wings Quebec going in that direction is an absolute mess today. And we're looking at the exits of the expressway coming out of Westlands, very slow movement. Is there something more than bumper to bumper? That's what it is. Let's talk in a bit. SpiceFM KE, Twitter.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94 point
continues in the Situation Room on KTN Home, Spice FM, and online. Eric Latif, Nduoko, CT Muga, and Suleiman Shabal, businessman, politician, nominee for position of a member of the East African Legislative Assembly. Ndu, before you ask your question, because you know you have your question, you know Shabal is also a hotelier. Tell him about the Italian Cuisine Week.
So, I mean, I know, obviously, you have a taste for these things. Shabal.
For which
Fine dining.
No, I don't.
Great cuisine. Good food. Isn't it?
No, actually, I don't. You know, I'm a very simple guy.
Who says that the fine dining can't be simple? So anyway, this is what we're talking about now. We're looking at, the Italian government. Every year, looking at what they do in Kenya, there's the Italian Cuisine Week. And we're right in the middle of it. Ends on the 20th. And so what they're saying is come into restaurants in different parts of the country and sample some of this great food. CT was there a couple of days ago, and he had what he wants to call ugali. It's polenta. And just experiencing culture through food, the Italian way. In Malindi, there are, what are those things called?
Tuk-tuk.
Thank you very much. That if you stop them on the way, they're giving you a sample of some of this great stuff. And walking into any restaurant in Nairobi, you have an opportunity to taste this fantastic tiramisu, which is this coffee and cream dessert. And it's celebrating Italian culture through food.
And it's something taking place throughout the world.
Are you telling me that Charles went to an Italian restaurant looking for ugali?
No. Maybe in his subconscious, he was looking for ugali, and it was presented to him with another name. That's what happened.
No, the function was at the ambassador's,
it was at the ambassador's residence.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't invited, so I don't know anything about that.
So now we invite you to any restaurant in Nairobi until the 20th.
Sample tiramisu.
And you can sample tiramisu.
Yeah, your question now.
Okay. So looking at this, I mean, it's very difficult not to play regional politics against local politics when we're looking at EALA. And based on some of the things that you said, Shabal, the question is, what will regional activity have in terms of local impact then when it comes to policy? Because if countries, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, let's look at Kenya, where the farmers, for example, let's just take agriculture. They've been clamoring for a reduction in the cost of agricultural inputs. If at the policy level that does not take place here, the question is, at the Legislative Assembly, on the regional level, how will something that is not happening at a domestic level take place at a regional level? And how will that happen?
Well, the problems of farmers, whether they're in Tanzania, Uganda, or Kenya, are the same. So if legislative changes are required in Kenya, probably the same legislative challenges are required in Uganda and Tanzania as well. So it's clearly a case of a need to have a regional discussion, not just a local discussion. And if we don't have that regional discussion, then you will have a situation where, let's say, duties on fertilizer will be lower in Kenya and higher in Uganda. And what will that do? It will lead to smuggling.
Sure.
Which is completely unnecessary. So all the more reason why you need a regional platform to discuss. None of our issues in Kenya are unique to Kenya. They're regional issues.
Do you see a situation whereby the regional discussion would then force, I don't know if I should use the word force, but okay, force the hand then of individual countries to get what they need to do? Do you see that a regional discussion, an umbrella discussion, will make individual countries implement policy change?
I would want to see that in a slightly different way. If there's a discussion at a regional level, perhaps that discussion needs to be had more eloquently at a local level. So just because you're a representative in EALA doesn't mean you talk only in EALA. There may be issues raised in EALA which makes sense, in which case you come back home and you go and find the relevant minister, or if necessary the president, and tell him the Tanzanians are concerned about 1, 2, 3, which we are implementing, which doesn't make sense. Maybe we need to change. So it's a platform for creative discussions. Disagreements are natural, but the disagreement is not confrontation. We can always find common ground in a lot of the issues. And I'm an optimist. I think it's a fantastic platform that hasn't lived up to its potential.
How do you think the arrangement we have with the East African community fits into the Africa Free Trade Agreement and the discussions around it? Because the very thing you say, if it's configured correctly and it works in East Africa,
then it's something that will benefit the entire continent.
Correct. I absolutely agree with that.
Yes.
Okay, and then again, that's why I'm saying we have more in common with our African neighbors than differences. What's the difference between the Kenyan economy, for example, and the Sudanese economy? The Sudanese economy, I'm talking about the northern Sudan, largely dependent on agriculture. Their problems are very similar to ours. They have problems with fertilizer inputs and all that. They have problems with food storage, just like we do. So a lot of the trade barriers that we have in Africa should actually be scrapped. You know, trade barriers come in when you have competing interests. But what I'm arguing is that we have more common interests than competing interests. And we should open these borders. I mean, Europe, the European economies began to flourish once the European borders were opened. The British, when they went into Brexit, are suddenly realizing that this was really a stupid move because it started to affect their trade in a very serious way. And they're now trying to backtrack on a lot of the things that they had given up. So if we've seen it work in Europe, we've seen it work in the United States, we've seen it work with the North American trade arrangements, I think we should also follow and do the right thing.
You know, it is strange that the East African community was not just up and running, but was successful to the point where our currencies were actually exchangeable. And then we had to backtrack and go back to the Stone Age and start, and start all over again because we preceded all these other economic blocks that we're talking about.
Correct. In fact, you know, I write a column for the Standard.
Yes, you do.
And tomorrow, in tomorrow's column, I'm talking about exactly what you've just said, that the European Union actually came and studied the East African model. What did we do right? Unfortunately, you know, it was the ideological conflict between Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and our President Jomo Kenyatta here. And they accused us of being man-eat-man society. And we said it's better than man-eat-nothing society. Okay. Then we went through the madness of, the madness of the Idi Amin time in Uganda. But, you know, we have to move on.
Yes, in fact, one could argue that perhaps it's a platform from which one can glean a lot of lessons, and it can also provide a platform on which you can now build an even stronger East African community because you have lessons that you can learn from what was done previously. Now, talking about lessons, how do you think we can convince our neighbors? Because this conversation about Kenya being in a certain pole position which some of our neighbors consider to be to their disadvantage. How do we get to convince our neighbors that this advantage we speak of may be true, but there are also huge advantages that they don't already have that they would have in getting together and working quickly to cement this particular community?
There's a Swahili saying that says, sauti nzuri humtoa nyoka kwenye pengo. That, sauti nzuri is a good voice, or maneno mazuri, matamu yanamtoa nyoka kwenye pengo. So I think if you can use good words to remove, to lure the snake out of the hole, surely, with good discussions and good dialogue, we can find common ground. I'm a great believer in dialogue,
You know why? Sorry.
Go ahead.
You know why I say this? I give this example all the time because it lends itself to that thinking. I don't know of any Tanzanian company or originated in Tanzania that has a foothold in Kenya and that has a big foothold, so to speak. Same with Uganda. If I go to Ethiopia, yet Kenya has entities that are nestled, grown in Kenya, that have footholds in these countries, right up to DRC. Now, you see, I'm asking the question again because that narrative that people have regarding the unfair advantage is given credence when you see such realities. But more importantly, as you say, it is how we speak about and to such realities and what it is that our neighbors will perceive from those conversations. From what you've understood, now I'm talking to you as a businessman, not as a politician. Are business people across our borders of the same mind to want to see an economic bloc such as the one that we're talking about?
You know, there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. And let me give you two examples. One of the largest Tanzanian companies is the Azam Group,
yes,
the Bakhresa Group.
Yes.
And they've tried very hard to enter the Kenyan market. And all sorts of roadblocks have been put for them across in every single direction, which clearly shows protective tendencies on the Kenyan side. But then I'll also give you another example. My friend David Langat went and bought farms, tea farms, in Iringa, Tanzania. And within 9 months, TRA was on his back. He hadn't even started making money. TRA was all over him.
TRA is their KRA.
Is the equivalent of KRA. And in no time at all, he just gave up. Now, clearly, David investing in Tanzania was good for Tanzania. Clearly, Azam coming into the Kenyan market was good for the Kenyan consumer. Let's give the local producers some competition here. It was good for Kenyan traders. It was good for Kenyan employment. So you find that we're going back to what I'm saying, you know, parochial interests that don't serve either country well. We need to remove these barriers.
What is the role of the East
now
African
look at I'm sorry, Eric. Look at the recent tiff between Kenya and Tanzania on the gas imports. Okay, you have a Tanzanian who wants to come and set up an LPG plant in Mombasa, Rastum Aziz. But he has been fought left, right, and center by local people. Now, from the business point of view, it means one more player in the market.
Yes.
But the people fighting him are fighting to protect their own business interests. Now, who do I sympathize with? Do I sympathize with the Kenyan traders who want to block him? Or do I sympathize with the Tanzanian who wants to enter our market? Let me go back to my own example. I wanted to enter the Tanzanian market when I was trading in oil, and I found all sorts of impediments. So you see, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We lift our restrictions, they lift their restrictions. Let's open the market in an organized way so that everybody benefits. But it cannot be one way. Okay? So when Rostom comes here and lectures our president in front of 200 traders that, you know, this market is blocked, blah, 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 he's absolutely right. But he's also being a little disingenuous because exactly the same thing applies in the economy.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So what is the place?
So this is what I'm saying. You know, we need an assembly that becomes more proactive in reducing these barriers because it is in our national interest, all of us. I remember a speech by Nyeri, which was he says, you know, the Europeans, the British with all their arrogance, and the Germans with all their arrogance, and the French with all their arrogance who ruled the world, decided that to put their petty national interests and come together as Europeans. Na sisi wa Tanzania tunarudi kwa ukabila. Okay, our small petty tribes. Okay, this was Nyerere speaking back in the 70s or the 80s. But that's exactly what we're doing now. Instead of just tribalism, we're doing it at a national level. Come on, man. We have more in common and more to our interests and our benefits by working together rather than looking at each other as competitors.
You see the frustration that you're talking about that are experienced by business people.
Yeah.
Those frustrations are there despite the fact that we've had an East African Legislative Assembly all these years and respective governments and East African heads of state summit meeting every year. discussing these trade and non-trade tariff barriers and all these things, but it doesn't move. Why do you think it doesn't seem to move? Is it because of national leadership, or is it because of the people who are representing the respective countries in the East African Assembly and also in the ministry forums?
Honestly, I'm not qualified to judge the performance of EALA because I haven't been there and I haven't really monitored what they've been doing. But if you look at our national leadership over the last, let's say, 10, 15 years, unfortunately, when Magufuli was president, the situation became worse, between Kenya and Tanzania. But now with Samia Suluhu, the situation is drastically improved. The relationship between Museveni and President William Ruto is exceptionally good. So I'm confident that we're going to see an improvement in trade ties between Kenya and Uganda. So the direction is given at the presidential level, and then it goes downwards. But then also remember that the president needs input downwards going up. So it is important that these issues are discussed intelligently from a well-informed perspective, hopefully at the regional assembly, and then the sentiments transmitted upwards to the presidents, so that when the big boys and the big lady get together, they make informed decision in the interest of the country and in the interest of the region and Africa in general.
There's something else that somebody made a comment. We've seen now the deployment of the East African Military Force into DRC to go and deal with the M23 rebels. Now, we're talking about countries within East Africa all contributing troops to one member country to go and fight rebels in that country, and also to try and bring stability and peace. That's the word being used in that country. We know it's in a resource-rich region. Somebody was saying that this is twofold. One, it could cement the brotherhood of the East African community countries, and another one is it could actually create rifts because of the performance and the behavior of the individual militaries in that country. What do you say?
That's a very touchy point. You know, one time I wrote an article saying that we have no business keeping our troops in Somalia. And I think 10, 15 different people from the security team were all over me, saying that you're not being patriotic. I said, no, on the contrary, I'm very much being patriotic. Because the Israelis, when they went into Lebanon as invaders and stayed there, they learned a very bitter lesson. When the Americans went to Vietnam, they learned a lesson. When the Soviets went to Afghanistan, they learned a lesson. When the Americans went to Afghanistan, they learned a lesson. So I'm not a believer that our armies should become invading armies. But our armies are there to keep the peace. And the regional security interests affect all of us. So I have no issues in sending our troops to pacify a region or to bring peace to a region. Where I have strong objections to is sending Kenyan troops abroad and keeping them there for years. So we need to focus on what exactly are we doing. It is a common, security is a common concern. You know, we've seen terrorist organizations mushrooming. We've seen Al-Shabaab affecting us here in Uganda, in Tanzania, even in Mozambique. And it's a common subject. It's a common concern, and it must be addressed on a common platform. But I'm very clear on one thing. If I see our army becoming an invading army somewhere, my friend, there's no question where my position will be on that. Get our boys back. Kenyan troops have been in Somalia for how many years? More than 10 years now. Have we really kept the peace in that country? So it begs the question, what are we doing there? Why should our boys be dying in Somalia?
What role do you see the East African Legislative Assembly playing in lifting the status of the continent, and whatever small part? When we saw the inclusion of DR Congo in the East Africa community, there were jitters that were felt on the other side of the pond, because, all right, here we have, million man-strong regional community. But then there was also jubilation on this side, because finally you have, a strong hand then when it comes to dealing matters of trade. The conversation always has been, when will Africa contribute to the economic status of the globe?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel that the Assembly will play a role here, especially now with these numbers that the community will control?
If you look at Africa's contribution to global trade, we're only at 3%. So we have a long way to go. Only 3%. But these type of regional assemblies are very important, because we can then articulate and have joint positions, which sometimes as individual nations we can be arm-twisted. Look at the European Union's position on the Uganda-Tanzania pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never heard of anything more hypocritical than that. Europe exports its oil and exports its gas through pipelines. They don't send them by plane.
No.
Okay? Because they make money out of these things. Now here's Uganda, a poor country, finally hitting the jackpot. And then you come and tell us, oh, you're not allowed to put a pipeline. What sort of nonsense is this? Now, we need to speak as a community on such issues, not as Uganda defending itself. The whole region should say, no way, this is in our national interest, because hopefully in a few years' time, we will also be building our pipeline from northern Kenya to Lamu. So are they going to come and tell us the same thing?
Yeah. They will.
Yes.
They will.
So we need to take a common position on some issues.
They've told us about the coal plant in Lamu.
Now you're bringing a very different subject here, okay? And you're right. You see, they came very hard on us on the coal issue, that we are contributing to global warming and all that. Let us see now how Europe is going to react to the Ukraine situation, and I can guarantee you that you'll see more coal plants coming up all over Europe now.
Yep.
They're already firing up that particular industry.
Yes.
Simply because the gas from Russia
is stopping.
Precisely.
Yes.
So it isn't as though, if we had a coal plant, what percentage of, should we say, the degradation of our atmosphere would we be contributing to the global industrial West contribution? Of what percentage would it be?
Completely negligible.
Precisely.
Okay? Because you see, today in Europe, Germany is putting up new coal plants.
Yes, they are.
Turkey is putting up coal plants. Even Dubai is putting up a 3,000 megawatt coal plant.
Mm-hmm.
When we were discussing that issue, my biggest concern, it is the greatest danger that Kenya is facing today is our youth unemployment. Okay? And if that was one way it could have contributed to lowering the cost of power substantially and creating more employment, that's where we should have looked at first. But like you said, that's a subject for another day.
It is.
It is.
It's a very controversial issue. But I'm coming back to what I'm saying. Uganda should not be defending itself alone. It is the East African community that should be standing up collectively and saying, no, this is fine. And on a lot of other issues. Because you see, Kenya on its own can be arm-twisted. Let's say we take positions at the UN, which the Americans or the Europeans don't like. It's easy to arm-twist a single country. But when you go there as a block of 10 countries and say, no, this is what the community is saying, can they really arm-twist 10 countries at the same time?
It's difficult.
Hard job.
That's why we need regional integration and regional cooperation.
Indeed. So, Suleiman, as you wait for the vote on Thursday, your job is now to campaign among members of parliament?
Yes.
All 500 of them?
Yes. And we are aggressively doing that and talking to everybody who will listen. And I must say thank you that you're actually giving me this opportunity. Maybe I hope some of them are listening to this conversation and saying, oh, maybe this guy has a few things in his head.
Yeah.
Alternatively, maybe this could be say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Wachana nayo chagua mtu mwingine.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All the best. And I see you holding a Samsung, the Fold.
Yes.
City has been telling us all about this Samsung Galaxy new gadget. So you have the Fold, there's a Z Flip 4 phone,
there's this
watch
that can do all sorts of things for you.
Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Ndu has been having the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro and all. We've just been enjoying the new Samsung Galaxy gadgets, joining your league.
And good products. Samsung has very good products, and what I like about it is they come in at all price levels, and what you can be sure of is that the quality you get is good.
Voilà.
Good. Yeah.
Suleiman Shabal, investment banker, politician, and nominee to the East African Legislative Assembly, has been our guest this hour. We thank you very much for joining us. Welcome again and again and again. We'll talk about the Dongo Kundu project next time.
That is very important.
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good morning to you. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Senate Speaker Amason Kingi has advised political leaders in the coast region to stop attacking each other over political affiliations. According to Kingi, the conflict that has existed between MPs of the area, especially when they attend parliamentary sittings, shows that they are not united. It says this may slow the achievement end of various development projects for coastal residents. He is now asking coastal leaders to put aside their political differences and be united.
Tuko mapande na kwa sababu ya hilo tukienda Nairobi tumeanza kushambuliana wenyewe. Manake mbunge wa UDA kutoka Pwani akisimama ni mbunge ndani ya serikali. Akishambulia mbunge wa Jubilee ama mbunge wa ODM atampata mbunge Amina Mnyazi. Watoto wetu kutoka Pwani lakini tuwapeleka Nairobi wanaanza kupigana. Tutapata maendeleo sisi. Kwa hivyo wakati umefika. Safari ya kesho huundwa leo. Mwenyezi Mungu atuajalie atuweke mpaka mwaka wa 2027 ambapo pale ndio tutapiga kura. Lakini mwaka ule hauko mbali. Lazima nyinyi kama wapwani mwanze kujiuliza ni vipi kama region mtaweka mambo sawa ili mkienda kule Nairobi mnaenda kama bumba moja.
Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Nasir has invited competent people to apply for the 10 cabinet positions available in the county government. The announcement comes 2 months after he was sworn into office on September 15th, taking over from his predecessor Hassan Joho. The governor has also invited applications for the positions of 16 chief officers and 1 county secretary. Addressing the media at his offices, Nasir said he had set up 3 committees made up of professionals to help him vet and pick individuals to fill the positions advised. Now, Garissa Governor Natif Jama has revealed findings from the HR audit reports that shows reasons why the county has been grappling with a bloated wage bill. 2 months ago, the county undertook a serious HR audit with the help of the Directorate of Personnel Management to help in carrying out the exercise. In the audit, it was revealed that over 180 people were employed as directors, deputy and assistant directors. Out of these, only 44 hold appropriate academic requirements such as a university degree. It was also found out that close to 100 people were employed as drivers while there are only 12 vehicles in the streets up and running. Now, Rwanda roads officials have engaged their Kenyan counterparts in the planned setup of 8-way bridges along 1,500 kilometers of its paved roads in the East African country. A team from the country's Transport Development Agency toured Kenya for benchmarking with Kenyan National Highways Authority on axle road control. The team, led by Frank Kaunza, the program manager for Rwanda Transport Development Agency, toured Juja and Athi River Way bridges on a familiarization and study tour in order to actualize the same in the country. Now, troops in the DR Congo clashed with M23 rebels north of key eastern city of Goma in the latest violence to hit the troubled region. Army sources said the military was engaging the M23 in Mwaro, a village about 20 kilometers north of Goma. A mostly Congolese Tutsi group, the M23, has recently surged across the Democratic Republic of Congo's North Kivu province, capturing Sweto territory. In a statement, the group accused Congolese army of conducting barbarian bombings in heavily populated areas, killing 15 civilians, including 2 children. The clashes come a day after Kenya troops deployed to the eastern DRC as part of the military operation from the seven-nation East African Community to stabilize the volatile region. Over 120 armed groups are active across eastern Congo, mainly a legacy of regional wars which flared at the turn of the century. The M23 briefly captured Goma in 2012 before being driven out. Now, the Ethiopian government and Tigrayan rebels agreed to facilitate immediate humanitarian access to all in need in war-ravaged Tigray and neighboring regions. The agreement followed talks in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, on the full implementation of a deal signed between the warring sides 10 days to the end of brutal 2-year conflict in northern Ethiopia. The agreement was signed by Field Marshal Berhanu Jula, Ethiopian Armed Forces Chief of Staff, and General Tadase Warede, Commander-in-Chief of the Tigray Rebel Forces. African Union envoys Olusegun Obasanjo, who has been mediating the peace negotiations, said the deal was taking immediate effect. Now, the world will now have a special parliamentary group whose core mandate will be to look into matters of climate change affecting various countries on various continents. The special parliamentary group was launched November 10th in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, at a side event during the COP27 conference on climate change. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so still looking at traffic is in many parts of the city. The drizzle still continues, so that slows things down considerably. Looking a little bit better on the Thika Superhighway. Past Surveys now where you find that jam, taking you then towards Pangani. It's smoothened out a little bit here and there on Wangari Maathai, as well as Murang'a Road going towards CBD proper. All right, coming out of Westlands, also a little bit better, but James Gishuru is still pretty heavy as you cross over Wayaki Way, getting out towards Kuna Road and then towards the Red Hill Link Road. On Mombasa Road, it wasn't a problem from morning. We're seeing then going towards Outer Ring. It still continues to be an issue. Apart from that, I think we can manage it a little bit, right? Does it get out of whack? Let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Swahili presenters on air, they say nikiangalia kwenye kopo langu la saa naona sasa imetimia saa fulani. I'm like,
keep up what?
Kopo la saa. It's watch.
Na kwa hivi sasa yale tulionayo ni haya.
But now, me, I'm not looking for my kopo la saa. I'm looking for my Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. You can't call that a kopo la saa, sure.
This, no, unfortunately, it isn't.
The Watch 5 Pro can't be a kopo.
No, it isn't. It is more than a kopo. at the very least, is a COP++. Yes.
It's a companion of technology that allows you to do so many things, isn't it, Just?
So surely. Well said.
Serious.
A companion of who again?
Technology.
That allows you to
do so much.
Right.
Tells you about where, if your pressure may be rising, 1, 2, 3. Can tell you how many steps you've taken in the day. Telling you maybe when you do to go and get a sip of water. You've been sitting too long. Or get up, go, take a walk, come back. Your heart rate, things like that. As well as telling you the time. Connects to your phone. You can even say, CT is calling. Shall I pick or not?
You can even read messages
Telling you.
on the gadget itself.
On your
Companion
phone.
of what?
On your watch.
On your watch.
Yes.
Companion of what?
Companion of technology.
Rafiki wa maana.
Bas. Samsung Watch Pro. What? Yeah.
Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro.
Telling you. It doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't.
It's that time, CT, for the proverb.
It is that time for the proverb. Okay.
From Mali.
Okay.
Mali Gafi.
When mosquitoes work, they bite when they sing.
When mosquitoes work, they bite.
Then they sing. Yes, that is how they clock in. That's how they begin their day's work. And they know that they're working when they've bitten. Then the singing,
they can now relax.
They now know that at least they've begun their day well.
Now, you know, one of the basic things is to make sure that you have a reduction in mosquitoes in your neighborhood is you do what? Kata nyasi. Right?
Toa maji ambayo imekaa.
Yes, stagnant water ni nini. Make your environment clean. Sindio?
Yeah.
This city county of Nairobi and those two words, make your environment clean, they are like really trying to catch up.
They are diametrically opposed.
Oil and water.
There are efforts made every day to keep the environment clean by the city fathers.
There are statements made to the effect that they are trying to keep the environmental clean by the city fathers. Yes. However, do they do what they say?
It's a catch-up game. It's a big... So, for example, let's say the government of Governor... What is his name?
Johnson.
Yes, that man. His Excellence.
Please.
Has, for example, been saying, the kind of effort that they're making. Now, look at how we can be cleaning the environment. So, they've come up with this thing of cleaning the environment at night. So, they go into the streets at night when everybody's away. So, they sweep, they clean. So, when you wake up tomorrow morning, safi. And they tell you, please, sasa musitupe takataka hapa, please.
And then the following day?
Takataka mecha.
Back to factory settings.
Yes, please.
That night again, they'll come
and
do it.
Are we sure that the takataka that is cleaned actually finds its way where it should be? Or are there people who return it?
As in bring it back where it was
so
before.
That the job they have is continuous, meaning you clean it,
then you bring it back.
So
I'm sure they don't bring it back. You see, on a daily basis, human beings, by their very nature, will produce waste. They'll generate waste. Let's call it that.
Thank you.
They'll generate waste, all right? Because of everything that you're doing. So unakula premendo, unatoa rapa, ukona hiyo ni waste. Unakula maembe, waste. Unakula mandis, waste. Unakula miwa, unapata mtu anawasa miwa, unakula miwa,
package.
Waste. The thing is, all that waste that we generate, if we don't have a proper structured way of dealing with it, it'll find its way where?
On the ground, on the street, out the window, outside the shop, outside the house, garbage everywhere.
Imejaa sana.
Yeah.
And people have been up in arms and complaining and saying, come on, Nairobi County government, can you just do this? One of these people is Hanifa Safia, who's been on social media and she's been posting pictures and saying, people, please help me to reach out to the governor and the people in his office so they can see iko takataka wapi hapa and various parts of Nairobi. And then people have also now been reaching out to her and saying, Hanifa, can you also now add us also to the list?
We're also interested.
Even us, we have issues. So she's here with us in the studio. Hanifa, welcome to the Situation Room.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. Karibu sana. We are talking about, the thing that we always deal with, takataka. When did you start this takataka campaign?
It started 2 weeks ago I was passing by the Korokocho slums and happened to see kids playing around and on the sewer leakages. Apparently, the leakage has been there for over 15 years. Over 15 years, you know.
Over burst sewer?
Yeah. What? And nothing has been done. You know, there's a hospital just around it, the new Mama Margaret Kenyatta Hospital. It's a level 5 hospital. So when it was being built, we were hopeful that, you know, they'd get rid of the leakage, but no, they just put a wall between them.
So NMS just created a wall.
The leakage.
There's a burst sewer there, there's leakage there on that side. So we put a wall so that the hospital is on this side. Okay.
And the sewer and the bus sewer is on the other side. Yes.
Iko nje.
Yes. What will deal now ikiwa nje.
Yeah, so
you found the kids playing there.
Yeah.
And this got to you, really.
It really got to me. I felt really helpless and desperate to actually leave the situation like that. So I felt I had to do something. I was not sure what I was going to do. So I just took pics. I took pics, and then later on that evening, just popped up in my head that I'll make sure it reaches the governor. You know, I want people to see this. I want them to see how this part of Nairobi exists and how our kids are at risks. So just slowly everyone got interested in it. So the attention is what made this happen. I'd actually like to thank the Kenyans on Twitter. This would not have happened without your support and your kindness and love and concern. So they made it happen. I'm so glad they gave it. It's amazing. Everyone is hungry.
So it's got reshares and all and retweets. So I'm looking, for example, on this one that you posted on the 4th of November. If this tweet pops or it's on your TL, please retweet it and give it attention. This is day 3 of trying to get Governor Johnson Sakaja's attention on this issue. It's our last resort. This sewer leakage has been at Korogocho slums for over 15 years. If it was some other estate, they'd have already fixed it. But these are children of a lesser God, it seems. This leakage surrounds the new level 5 hospital and the primary school, exposing the kids and everyone to the risk for years on years. It spreads on the road and other parts of the area. This is a menace. And this is the photo that you posted. So far, it's received 3,468 retweets, 66 quote tweets, 3,183 likes, and counting. And if you look at this photo, you're like, what do you mean? This has been like this for a long time. So we cannot say that, efforts have been made. If efforts had been made, would not be seeing this kind of takataka all over. The fact that it's there, it tells you that there is something wrong.
Right. Okay, so, and I think that's the thing. If we're talking about 15 years, that means the residents of the area have been complaining that this is, you come and you're surprised, but we have been living in this filth. We've been living like this for the last 15 years. Am I right? Okay. This hospital that was just recently completed, the Mama Margaret Kenyatta Hospital when was it completed? 2021.
Last year.
Last year, isn't it? So this was built in this filth by the NMS. It was finished by the NMS, adjunct to the Nairobi City Council, County Council, right? Do we know so far, we can say, obviously, because we see it still like this, that nothing has been done. Have there been efforts, from what you've been able to find out so far? Have people complained and it reached somebody and they said, we'll do something about it? At the very least, is there anything like that has happened, according to your knowledge?
I don't think so. People actually gave up on it. There's actually something quite deep with this situation. If the authorities that promised to fix it gave up halfway, and also the relevant authorities are very much aware of this situation. I approached them, to raise my concern on this issue, and they were aware, So I was wondering if the relevant authorities were aware, the people who promised to fix it gave up halfway, So there must be something with it, and it's a collection of garbage from different parts, not just Korokosho, Babadogo and Kariobangi, for instance. So I believe there's something deeper within it. I do not understand.
So is this a dumping ground?
Yeah.
Is this a dumping area? This is not just garbage that is generated by the people living in this area. So are we saying that this is a dumping ground that brings garbage that has been collected from other areas and then it is now deposited here?
Yeah. So that's what I believe, because it does not make sense how this thing has been here for 15 years and no one did anything. I don't know if it's the budget or the people, they should be dealing with that. They're giving them a hard time. I really want to know, because it's seriously, sad. It's sad.
Isn't it bizarre? A health hazard next to a hospital. So it's like you have a health hazard that guarantees that there'll be people always coming to that hospital. Because if they live in that area and there's this open sewer, the hazard that creates is of enormous proportions. Now, the question I need to ask is the local MCA. Have you tried to get in touch with the local MCA? Have you tried to get in touch with, say, the local MP?
And
you have.
And the ward admin.
And the ward admin,
I got in touch with the area MCA, and he had efforts to reach the governor. So I don't mean to brag or anything, but using this platform and this campaign reached the governor much easier, and effectively than him. Because if, trying to solve these issues on ground is really difficult, because most of them just brush it off. When they see that it's beyond them, the blame game begins. So that was our last resort. We had to go on Twitter and try to reach the governor. So I didn't intend much with it. But it happened. People saw it. The governor saw it. He promised to fix it. So here we are. I tried.
Did he give a timeline? Did the governor say that within the next X number of days, next 100 days, I will fix it, I will do something about it?
No, he did not provide a timeline.
Have we seen officials who deal with such matters within the county visiting the site and just sort of like having to a look-see to determine whether what it is that needs to be? Have we seen such people coming there?
Yeah, the day the governor replied that he was going to fix it, and there were excavators there. I went to the place the next day. The operation was going on, so it was going on well.
Explain. What exactly was going on? What were they doing?
They were picking the trash. You have to pick the garbage first to see where the problem is.
Yes.
So they were picking the trash. The first day I went there, they were picking the trash. The second day I asked someone what was going on or what the progress was. So there were many stones. I don't know. They brought so many stones. I believe they were just going to dump it in there. That's not the solution, honestly. So that's what they did. They dumped the stones in there, and
But the trash was cleaned out.
No. It was cleaned halfway. I said the recent photos of the place yesterday. I got the photos. I shared it yesterday. That's how it looks now. It became worse.
So there's still more dumping that's happened here.
I think it's still the same. The issue is not the garbage. The sewage.
There's a burst sewer.
The garbage, actually, I would have organized for a cleanup, but it's beyond us.
There's a burst sewer that needs to be fixed. And so officials from the county came and they scouted the place. They toured the place. They looked at what the problem was, and they haven't returned. In the meantime, they have not collected the garbage yet. Because that's, low-hanging fruit. Garbage iko hapa, bring tipper, put garbage in tipper, take it away. That hasn't happened. They only did a bit of it. Now, sorting out whatever the issue is with the bus sewer, they haven't done that yet. Okay. Now, this conversation then goes even beyond the area that you visited in Korogosho. There are other areas as well, and people have been reaching out to you and telling you about other parts of the city. Where else are they complained about?
Yeah, so after the governor promised with the Korogosho, so people saw hope. They saw that maybe the other situation which existed for over 10 years could be fixed with tweets. So I got DMs on the pipeline issue. The pipeline issue has been there. Everyone knows about it.
This is pipeline estate. Huh?
Yeah, the pipeline estate. Everyone knows about the pipeline estate issue. It's been all over the media for years and years and years. So it's ridiculous how no one does anything. It's really sad. So they reached out to me and we started the campaign. It was the mission too for the pipeline. So we campaigned for 6 days. We tried to reach the governor for 6 full days, and the support was immense and really nice. So finally he responded. He responded and said that the budget was approved and they were going to fix it. So I
have to ask, what were they fixing exactly? For those who may not know what the pipeline issue is, what is the issue in the pipeline?
The pipeline issue, the main problem is the road. So the road is really in a bad state, so much that it has a hole that has sewage leakage and stagnant water in it. That road is impassable. You can't, no one uses it, not the kids, not the drivers and the motorcycle guys. The kids, actually it goes back to the kids again. They play in such environment and live there. Imagine going to work and coming back to such a state every single day for over 20 years. It's really sad. So we started the campaign on it, but that was a much bigger issue because they have to fix the road and clear the sewages and the garbage.
Sure. I'm looking at the garbage issue because so long as there are humans, living in a certain community area, there will be the generation of waste, garbage, all of this. So if we lived a few steps into the future and then assume then that there was action on the part of the county and then it was cleaned up, there will still be the generation of waste, whatever we want to look at it. So for me, goes beyond cleaning up the mess. The mess can be cleaned up, I'm sure, even in 2-3 days, right? That can be sorted out. Whatever needs to be fixed can be fixed if people decide they're going to do that. But then moving forward, when we get into a situation whereby the city needs to be cleaned on a regular, that these messes need to be plugged up. Broken pipes and things like this need to be fixed. Sewage needs to be sorted out. It is a long-term, continuous process that needs to. For me, the conversation needs to go beyond cleaning up the mess, which is hugely important. But then beyond that, it must be that we are now living in a situation whereby the city is clean constantly. So, is that even a conversation that's being had, or are we saying right now, that's great. It's a conversation for the future, but right now, what we need is to clean up this mess? Or is it a two-pronged conversation happening?
Yeah, if you've noticed, I only highlight issues to deal with the sewer leakages. I'm not a fan of people who litter. I detest people who litter around. At the end of the day, it goes back to us. We are the ones, destroying our city. So Nairobi lacks proper waste disposal system. So there has to be a proper waste disposal system for things to work, for us to go beyond fixing the problem and finding a sustainable solution. So there are so many suggestions on how to go about that. And one of them, and the most effective one, and the realistic one, was to provide the garbage bins. Yeah, there has to be garbage bins point. It will really curb the illegal dumping issues. So people would use them instead of just littering around. That's the most
It's the most basic. And in fact, that's why, for me, I hear what you're saying, that you detest people who litter. I don't. And I've said it many times. Actually, I sit back and I see people who litter and I'm like, well, go you. Look, if there's no garbage collection point that has been provided, what do you expect me to do with my takataka? What do you expect me to do with it? You expect that people who are actually walking, so, for example, City, Kilimani, you walk all the way from the beginning of Agwins Kothak Road to the end of Agwins Kothak Road, there's no dustbin.
Not a single.
Not a single one.
Or you go to Dennis Street Road.
Dennis Street, not a single one.
The only people who attempted to put something there were Citizen.
Yep.
Small little, and those ones have disappeared. I don't know where they went to.
Yeah. So without garbage collection points, and I start with, remember the time I gave you an example, somebody was complaining, they've come all the way from Chogoria, they're coming to Nairobi, they're coming to an office in Milimani. You have left Chogoria, you have entered a mat. This is an old lady. She has diabetes. Gets to Embu, buys banana and a bottle of water, kwa dirisha. In the matatu, as they are coming, eats the banana, drinks the water. She thinks, okay, I'm not going to litter in the matatu. So holds on to her banana peels and her empty bottle of water, gets to tea room. There is no garbage collection point. She needs to walk to a community. She's going to community. There's nowhere where she can drop the garbage. She's not going to enter a government office without that garbage. So what's she going to do?
She's going to drop it.
Of course.
We did have a word with the city county officials a while back regarding this same issue. And the two things that stuck to my mind is they said that, you see, when you put up these garbage collection points, people pilfer them. And I thought to myself, surely... Are we limiting the entire exercise of ensuring that we have good garbage collection to that one reason that people will filter? Are you saying that one cannot come up with ways in which you can guarantee that pilferage does not take place? And yet there is an entire department with people who are paid to ensure that this is what happens on a daily basis. So if that isn't being done, the question is then, what on earth are these people doing? What is their job?
We had alerted the office of the Nairobi governor, Johnson Sakaja, that you would be here, and we are amplifying this conversation. So I'm sure they're listening and they're hearing what we're saying, and we want to open up the phone lines as well. You are a resident of Nairobi or Mombasa, because I can see someone saying even extend this campaign to Mombasa. You have an issue with garbage, waste management in your area. Call in and let's hear what the issue is. 0719-012-600. We're talking about waste management in Nairobi and in urban areas today, focusing on Nairobi. What is happening? Yes, credit to Sakaja. He's trying to catch up with a system that is completely broken. But he needs to, as he's doing that, he needs to tell us, okay, so what's the long-term solution to this?
10 years of brokenness.
Not more than 10.
No. 10 years since the county system came in.
Yes.
But for a much longer period, even before the county system came in.
Yeah. Yes. And the best they did is when the county realized that this is a problem that we don't want to have in our hands, they passed bylaws that says garbage is your responsibility. There's a bylaw in Nairobi that says garbage is your responsibility. You are found littering, it's you. You don't have anywhere you throw takataka, it's your problem. And then they've licensed people to come and collect takataka from your home, and you pay them.
With vehicles that qualify to be referred to as takataka.
Yeah.
Some of them oldest. Anyway.
0719-012-600. Please call in after this quick break. As we go into the break, have you made a booking with Jimmy Gathu? Jimmy Gathu Live will be broadcasting. We'll be going to Naserian Ridge Phase 3 this Saturday, the 19th of November. This is a beautiful real estate development, and we've been telling you all about it. Make sure that you're not left behind in this particular one. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
London Mulwa DJ Absolute. When the gang is together,
Got the sugar, got the spice.
Yorada,
yes,
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Eh?
like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys give more money than you can count. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So if you say it's on, then it's on.
Yeah. All right, so we're still looking at a bit of a drizzle in certain parts of Nairobi, highs of 24 and lows of 17. It's raining at 19 in Nakuru, highs of 24. We'll see highs of 23 in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 19. And it's 18 and sunny in Eldoret, highs of 24 and lows of 13. The rain is coming down at 28 in Mombasa, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 30 in a mostly cloudy Malindi at 29. It's 23 and mostly cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 26 as well in Kakamega, where it's cloudy at 23. 22 and mostly sunny conditions in Kampala, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31 in a rainy Dar es Salaam at 28. 14 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 21, and highs of 24 in a sunny Eldoret at I beg your pardon, highs of 24 in a sunny Kinshasa, highs of 31 and lows of 23. Lagos is hazy now at 26, highs of 32. Going into Beijing, they'll see lows of -1 as the cold months kick in. 6 degrees and mostly cloudy in Paris, highs of 16, and highs of 15 in a foggy London at 9. It's 5 degrees and clear still Sunday night in New York. Coming into Monday, we'll see highs of 9 and lows of 2.
The adults in the room.
I've seen some marriages, relationships, cohabitings struggle because there was no independence of the relationship.
It needs a certain level of intelligence. You need to reach a place where you know yourself, and again, you're not feeding off society.
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not.
Tune into Adults in the Room every Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The adults in the room will help you stay winning. Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, with that drizzle in Nairobi, we'll still see some traffic coming off of Thika Superhighway. That's much better now. You shouldn't have too much of an issue with it. Whether you choose to use the service lanes or the main highway, you'll be all right until you get to that, last part of the Pangani underpass where traffic is still doing the thing above bumper to bumper. I'm still looking for a word for that. So, I'll take your suggestions. Coming off of James Gishoro, that seems to have dwindled. And so you won't have too much of an issue getting onto Ngong Road, coming through Gitanga Road out towards all that. Okay, Mombasa Road wasn't looking too bad, but you're going to see that issue between the Nyeri Stadium roundabout out into the city and then further on towards Westlands, where traffic doesn't knock you out. Hopefully the garbage doesn't. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's talk through the morning and keep things moving.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Conversation continues. It's Eric Latif, Nduo Kositi Muga, and our guest this morning, Hanifa Safia, who is a concerned citizen who's raising issues on social media via her Twitter handle. You can follow her at Hanifa Safi. Hani, Fa, F-A-R, Safi, S-A-F-I. Hanifa Safi. Or is it Hanifa Safi? Yeah. Follow her on Twitter. She's been raising issues about, garbage and garbage issues around Nairobi, waste disposal systems, waste management around the city. And we want to hear from you. You are in Nairobi and you have issues. Let's talk about them, and let's also alert the city county of Nairobi so that they can come in and deal with it. David.
Yes, my name is David and I'm calling from Nakuru. I'm a civil engineer by profession.
Yes, David.
I've worked in Malindi Water, Mombasa Water, and Taita Taveta Water, and also I was county director for water, environment, sanitation, climate change, and natural resources in Taita Taveta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to make a brief contribution on the issue of waste management.
Yes, please.
Two things. One, it will be good for Kenyans to look at the issue of waste management differently.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put a value to what we call waste, and stop calling it waste. Rather see it as a resource. Once we see it as a resource, then we should be able to put it in process where there will be value addition, and it can bring income and make our cities and every area clean. So we need to put value. Like we had an initiative in Taita Taveta, we used to call it Taka ni Mali. So in brief, the process of sorting out the garbage starts from the home, and it becomes easy to collect it in separate forms, whether bottles, glass bottles, plastic bottles, decomposable garbage. Then it is taken to a processing area where it is separated and further processed into different byproducts. So when we put value into the what we call waste, then it becomes something that can be able to assist people and also bring back income and make our areas clean. So we need to change from looking at it as garbage and look at it as a resource.
Who is we?
The other
David,
thing is,
can I ask you a really quick question, David, even as you go on? When you say we need to look at it differently, who is we?
The whole society, but it requires interdepartmental coordination to be able to make it a success. One department alone cannot be able to solve the issue of waste management. In as much as we want to involve the people, I want to believe that we have the right policies and laws that are in place, but it requires interdepartmental coordination. The county government, the national government, the civil societies, the residencies themselves, the different departments, maybe environment department, planning department. We need to, because some of the departments will come in strongly to enforce. For example, if I give you an example, if you have a hotel that is discharging waste in an unlawful manner, then you need to have the county government to enforce to stop licensing that person. Maybe a restaurant, maybe an eatery, maybe a butchery. You need to have the county to stop licensing that business. Whereas now, the public health department can come in to enforce and tell somebody to comply. Then we have the infrastructural department that must make sure that the infrastructure is working. Yes, and then maybe we have departments of trade to come in and buy the idea to make these things to be. We look at it as a resource that we can add value to it, so that what we are producing as waste in our homes, industries, and wherever, can it be processed to become something valuable? If it is a waste treatment plant, for example, do we have sludge beds where we can dry that? We can, after separating the water, it goes back to the environment. Then the hard sludge that remains is dried and processed into fertilizer.
You know, I dare say, David, that by and large, everybody is in agreement with this theory. Practically, give us a practical example of what you did in Taita Taveta with the Taka ni Mali campaign. What did you do?
I didn't stay for long, but at least we did the proposal because we had borrowed from Kajiado. I think they were a step ahead of us, and they had gone further to be able to implement that whole process, which I believe was working for them. But when we got the idea, we also did a proposal. By the time that I was leaving that station, at least we had done the proposal, and I think we had pushed it all the way to the county assembly waiting approval. So that is the much that I had been able to do while I was there. But I want to believe these things are possible and they can be done.
Indeed.
Then I'm told everything is in the name. If we call ourselves negative names, then we shall always be in the negative thought. I'm told Korogosho has something to do with a negative meaning, crowded, not so much organized, something like that. I don't know. But if we can turn the name of a place into a better name and call ourselves a better name, I think we should be able to live to a better standard.
Oh, that will make the county now come and collect garbage.
No, not really. But if somebody dwells on the negatives,
it affects. It's true. You made
look on the positive side of things. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Lydia in Parklands.
Good morning, SpiceFM. This
Morning.
is Lydia from Parklands, yes. I wanted to say that there are very intelligent toilets created of solar. Human waste is only a fine powder. It dries up solar toilet, and it's such a fine powder. It doesn't smell. The germs are all killed, and it's just manure. Just like the horse. It does its toilet on the road. It dries up like a powder and everybody walks on it. Even the urine, they put it on solar and it's purified as fertilizer. So we don't need to waste thousands of gallons of clean drinking water just to flush fine powder. A man was eating a banana and he just drops the peel where he walks. I said, no, sir, it will skid and fall on it. Take the peel and throw it in the garden where nobody walks. Throw the peel there. And it just dries like powder by the sun. Simple as that. So we should use solar systems to dry sewer wastes.
Thank you, Lydia. Solomon in Mombasa.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Good morning. It's been a while, Solomon bwana.
I'm back.
Ulienda Saudia ama ulienda wapi?
Hapana, tulikuwa tumetulia, baridi ilikuwa imezidi, sasa joto imerudi. Sasa ndio tunaweza sema tuko Mombasa.
Sawa.
Okay, maybe to add on to what others have said, as I always say, every Kenyan citizen has a right, has an obligation, and has a responsibility.
Yes.
The counties have a responsibility to do dustbins. Where I work, there's a dustbin that is being put like after every 3 months. When it is put, the scrap metal dealers wanakuja wanaiba. So you wonder, where will I put my waste? If it's a bottle or whatever. So people should be concerned about our country, because the county government can invest heavily on those dustbin points. Yeah, but will the citizen come again and steal them? That's the question. Then secondly, do we continue littering? Those are characteristics you're not taught by the government. You're taught by your parent. Those are manners. So as a country and our culture, we should embrace, we stop littering. Even if you're in a car, umekumaliza kunywa maji, why should you throw up the bottle outside? Keep it in your car. Ukifika nyumbani, dispose it. If you don't have a car, I believe when you buy a banana, there's a paper bag. When you finish, maybe your sugar cane, put it in that paper bag until you find the next.
So the assumption here, Solomon, is that when I get home, there's a waste disposal mechanism in place.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ukifika nyumbani takataka unapeleka wapi wewe, Solomon?
Ikifika kwa takataka naeka kwa dustbin.
Alafu.
But now, if ikikuja at the end of maybe after 3 days, the county comes and collects from my home.
County government of Mombasa.
Yes.
Or is it a private company?
It's whichever. Sometimes what usually do, they usually collection points. Yeah. So you can take it there to the collection point if you have the time.
Solomon, I want to ask
you. Can,
Let me ask you. Do you want to tell me that in every part of Mombasa, there is actually a working system where, like you're saying, in every 2 days, you have takataka, you put it somewhere, and the county government will come and collect it without fail?
Yes.
In every part of Mombasa?
Yes.
So there is.
But now the problem, after every 2 days, that is long enough. They should do it every day. Yes.
All right.
The time period is too small.
Okay. I'll tell you, that is not the case in Nairobi.
Yes. Why?
There are parts of Nairobi where that happens, and you pay for somebody to come and collect that garbage who's been licensed by the city county. There are parts of Nairobi where that doesn't happen at all.
Yeah. Or in case, if I've seen Mombasa, there are private companies that come to estates. They tell you, we'll be doing garbage collection for you guys. You pay around 200 shillings a month, and the garbage is collected. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If we can have a simplified mechanism, maybe that is cheap. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we want our towns and villages and towns very clean.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you, Solomon.
So it will cost us at some point.
Thank you. Let's hear from Rogers in Mandera. Good morning, Rogers.
Good morning. Now I've been in several towns before I went to Mandera. The problem. First, let's deal with the issue of garbage collection and the drainage system. Most of one of the towns that I've been, I don't want to mention the exact town because I work there. There used to be like something like a bin where garbage is collected, but But people sometimes get lazy. They want to throw it alongside the road, so it blocks the drainage system. So then the second issue is about the problem in this country. Like places like, for example, Nakuru, Kwanzenga, they say population is very, you see the population is very high, the density is very high.
Yep.
And now we are putting the strain on a system that was designed maybe not for that population, you see. So we need to update our drainage systems and improve. Now, like this is like bottles. We need to, like in this country, maybe ban these single-use bottles or something. And lastly, this country has a problem of population growth. We need to reduce this population growth. I don't know how we'll deal with it. This is a population growth problem in Kenya. It's training on the resources, and it will be a big problem in the next 10 years. That's my submission.
Thank you very much, Rogers. Let's hear from Ali in Mombasa. Good morning, Ali.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ali.
I want to give a good name from what David had to say, the engineer.
Yep.
He told us that we should not be thinking dirty or negatively. I would like to use this word, which is very good. We stop being a third-class thinking gene. When we had the previous mayor called Najib Balala in Mombasa, he's the gentleman who started keeping Mombasa clean by doing a PPP, public-private participation. And we had this Mombasa going very clean. He brought the Italians who paid about 800 million to make sure that he's going to recycle every garbage and create whatever produce you'll get, that the government will get money out of it, and the locals will get employment. But unfortunately, our leaders are a third-class thinking gene. They don't think beyond their nose. They always think dirty is dirty because of a third-class thinking gene. Now I'm trying to help myself by telling our leaders they should come down to those people who have not been voted in to get advice on how to manage our affairs, since we have already given them the two opportunities to manage us. The first opportunity is a political opportunity, which we choose them. The second opportunity is that we've given them taxes to pay them their salaries and administration costs. So they should think as a first-class thinking gene to improve our lives and their life after the political or executive carry that they are holding now. Because at the end of the day, they'll get out of it and they will meet that dirty thinking waiting for them, which they cannot do anything. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much, Ali. Lovely day. 0719-012-600. Waste management. Many of those ideas basically are saying, look, if we had a system, people would know, separate waste at the point of generation, and then it's collected, it's dealt with. It's dealt with properly and well. And there's a way in which you can actually have an entire circular economy around this, where you collect that waste and you reuse it. There's a company called Fresh Life Initiative that's been doing some sanitation projects in the urban parts of the country. And what basically they've been doing is they provide these different kinds of toilets. Those toilets are, you basically use the toilet, but then they come and collect. So there's a use of toilet, they collect, it's separated, the urine and the hard stool, they go and recycle the whole thing, and basically you end up having manure.
But I think that's the thing.
100%.
Right. You've talked about a system, and this is a thing that everybody has to be players in it. You can do the separation in your home if you're going to do a small scale kind of thing.
Yep.
But the truth of the matter is that the majority of the people who live in homes will not do that if they are not well addressed on how it ought to happen. And it has to be circular. I think we've had conversations about it, that it must be circular. That those then who have the might in terms of policy administration to get this done have to then push towards policies of advocacy to have this happen. To have it happen. How will you think about it? Somebody wakes up from their house like you saw, Hanifa. Somebody wakes up and opens the door and sees a mound of garbage. Is this the same individual that you're going to teach then about sorting out plastic from paper? Where is the amenity for them to...
No, even if they sort it out, they can see it's going nowhere.
Why should they sort it out if there's a mound outside their house? They're just going to add it to
plastic
that.
Kando, I've put the organic waste Kando, and then I put it the same...
And I put it in the heap that is outside my door when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
This is the thing. How do we teach when the evidence glaring is in the opposite? So maybe that is the thing, Hanifa, that we're talking about now. The current state needs to be cleaned up before you can even start. And these are great conversations which must be had. But before you can even start to have those conversations, let people see the benefit of having cleanliness around them. First of all, you need to clean it up. Secondly, the facilities which you keep harping about, there's facilities for which people need to dump, need to be provided. There is no two ways about it. If you want to keep a municipality clean and you don't have the functions for it, big dustbins, if you do not have, you have no business talking. And that's what I'm saying. Clean it up first, put the bins there, then come after people if they don't use the bins. Come after them if they don't have, by all means. Be like the people in Southeast Asia, whereby we whip you, but we have provided the bins.
At least there's a bin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, there's this whole conversation about waste management. And then when you talk of waste disposal management, what do you have? Do you have a dumping site? Or do you have a waste utilization site? I'm using the word utilization for the simple reason that if you look at what UNEP and other organizations have done for the longest time, I know of a program where locals in Kisumu, locals, meaning they went to the high density areas and trained locals to form themselves into a group to collect waste. And the very thing you're saying, bottles, plastic, biodegradable.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the problem is if you start such a scheme and it isn't supported by, say, the government, whatever body, whether it is the county government or the national government,
you're on your own.
It will work for some time because it employed young people. And the young people are the ones who do it. So in an area, I came across them because they actually came to ask if they could do the cleanup in the space where I worked then. And I asked them, and the truth is, they maintain the grass. They do all sorts of things for you. But what am I saying? I'm saying, how do you support such initiatives? Because the thinking behind it, the papers have been written about it. Do we see or have we seen the national government come up with a blueprint that they've set out to actually implement, where we actually have a waste management disposal program or process that is being replicated everywhere? Do we see it?
No,
we don't.
Even if you were going, look, and that's the thing. Into what do we plug? Let's say that Hanifa decides now that she's going to come up with a CBO today, right?
To be cleaning the environment.
Where does she plug in?
Into what will she plug? And that's the question today. Little school children going around carrying, collecting bottles, and so, fantastic, because they understand the process of recycling.
Yeah.
But into what do you plug?
Kazi Mtaani cleaned
where are we
then?
If
we don't have a long-term plan on how this works, all right, and we've talked to KEPSA and what they're doing with the circular economy,
right,
and where several organizations have come together and said, we want to do this with the PETs. You see, they've started with the PETs, and they are supporting it. However, you have to have a broader approach to this. If the county government that is licensing the companies that deal with garbage and waste management, if they're not given those restrictions, this is exactly what we expect you to do.
Yeah.
Provide the bins, provide There will be in such that you can separate the waste. When you separate the waste, take this waste here, take this waste there, take this waste there. You'll find people or groups or youth groups which shall do the sorting. And then they'll have, if you don't do that,
and
stories.
Like most of what people on Twitter said, that things are the way they are because that's how they are planned. And it really makes sense because the garbage, it's a business. It's a multi-million business, you know. So they're leaving things to be the way they are because, you know, it's generating money for them. You know, they're benefiting.
As it is, with little effort.
Yeah. They're benefiting off us living in filth and, you know, it's very sad. And the relevant authorities cannot cause frictions, you know, between the people involved. It's much deeper than we think. Take, for instance, the Dandora dam site. Why do you think it was not closed even though they said it was good? Dandora dam site is a business, you know. And sadly enough, we have kids there, you know. The residents complain of the foul smell. The children get killed recklessly by the trucks that come in and go out every day, and no one bats, you know. And it's a very well organized crime. I think it's
a criminal syndicate in the name of waste management.
Yes, and from what Hanifa is saying, Dandora Dam site is actually a crime scene.
It's a crime scene.
It's a crime scene.
Hanifa, we thank you very much for coming. Thank you for raising these issues. Keep raising the issues, and yes, we'll keep giving you the platform to amplify the voice and the campaign that you launched. Hanifa Safia is a concerned citizen of Nairobi. She has been campaigning for a cleaner Nairobi. The city county authorities have listened and they've been listening, and yes, they say they're acting. We'll keep pushing until we actually see those words translating into action. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room today. We'll see you again when? Tomorrow morning. In the meantime, go look around Nairobi and sample the best tiramisu. And if you come across it, let us know tomorrow. Good morning, 10 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire.